Well, good evening, race fans. Welcome back to the MC Motorsport GT3 Championship, proudly presented by Brisbane's own French Car Care. We are here tonight in the Netherlands at the iconic circuit Zandvoort for round 7 of this 10-round season, and it's going to be a very interesting one again this evening. Zandvoort, a track that is set to really challenge the drivers as they struggle to find lines to make the passes on this very, very tight and winding circuit. We are now very deep into the championship, only 4 rounds left, including this evening, and every race is starting to carry some pretty serious weight. The front runners are fighting to cement their title hopes, the rest of the field pushing hard to break into those top spots before it is too late to grab onto those all-important points. As always, a massive shout out to French Car Care for getting on board for this season. It's great to have them along sponsoring us, and of course for you at home, welcome back, or indeed welcome for the first time to Simple Racing Broadcast. My name is Jared Cole, and with me in the booth tonight, my good friend Dean Biggles-Hopton. Biggles, great to be back in the booth with you again tonight. Zandvoort is a track that will certainly make for some interesting opportunities for drivers. Doesn't present a whole lot of possibilities to make a pass, even in these GT3s.
Yeah, that's exactly with the banking elevation as well too, out on the coast here in the Netherlands. Never been out here. Have been to the Netherlands a couple of times, but should have got a chance. Should have gone out there and had a look at the track. But it certainly will be interesting, as you mentioned. Where the overtakes will be, how you can get the overtakes done, how you're going to manage the tyres as well too. So I believe it's a little suffering on tyres around here.
Yeah, look, it is a tough track. You know, it's almost constantly turning. Thankfully, though, the tyres shouldn't be too much of an issue, bar an occasional overheat, I suppose. Tonight being a sprint round means we've got 3 19-lap sprints ahead of us. The drivers out there qualifying now, and we'll check in on that in just a moment. So there will be fast and furious racing tonight. Now, Biggles, historically, our sprint rounds have been a bit of chaos, haven't they? You kind of You get through that first race and you settle in, and then everyone goes, all right, I've got the groove now, let's go. And particularly that second sprint race tends to be a little more, shall we say, aggressive than the first one. Tonight at Zandvoort, there's really very, very little room for error, and I've got to wonder just how much of a risk that poses with such a tight margin for these drivers to try and push through.
And with the reverse top 10 in each of those too, so drivers will have to try to navigate their way through there. So get yourself a good result, you know, finish the first heat race essentially. Well, you've got to start from P10 and work your way through the field there. Hey, do it twice, fantastic, get it for a third time. So I think consistency is going to be key here of getting yourself maybe a top 5 3 times in a row, and that'll give you a good chunk of points there deep in this championship.
Yeah, it absolutely will. Thankfully, the one thing the drivers can rely on tonight, brilliant weather, which is honestly a little bit unusual for the Netherlands, but we're here and it's looking pretty good at the moment. 25-degree track temp, 19 in the air. A stiff breeze off the coast, 32 kilometres an hour, will push the cars around a little bit, but generally speaking, just a few clouds and no sign of rain just yet. We'll keep a close eye on it. G'day, Aaron. Good to have you along. You're in here early, mate, and always keen. Good to see you signing in about 45 minutes ago, so I hope you're still with us as we get ready to take a look at the championship standings ahead of tonight's racing. These are your top 20 so far. Reese Wakefield hold on to that number 1 position. Hayden Veld, of course, not racing last week, will have a bit of work to do, but he is back out on track this week. So the title is absolutely in a showdown through the next 4 rounds. There's very, very little separating them at this point. Thomas Hin's not too far back, but he'll be watching Danny P in P4 at the moment to try and hold on to that final podium spot. James Delhani's had a really good couple of weeks, and he's starting to really cement his hold on that 5th position. Kyle Ridley right there with Josh Harris, then Brad Coates, Ryan Palmer and Liam Jensen rounding out your top 10. And a really close battle just outside of that, of course, for the bragging rights between Liam Tipping, Mick Poley, Jackson Starrett's in there as well, Mitchell Curry still in it as well. So, you know, it's not over for anyone anywhere throughout these standings at this point, and plenty more points on offer over the next few rounds. Of course, tonight, each of the 3 races worth 100 points to the winner, and points being shared down through the ladder from there. So You won't see anyone taking it easy out here at Zandvoort tonight. Let's go down to the track, shall we, Biggles, and take a little bit of a look at some of the racing that's going on in qualifying as the drivers do try and get themselves set for the start of race number 1. And we might start off with our current championship leader, Reece Wakefield. He is currently sitting on pole with the barest of margins over Thomas Hinds. We're talking a grand total of 4/10 the difference. Hayden Veld was actually sitting on top of the timings up until just a couple of minutes ago. But we're only 6 minutes into the qualifying session. Still plenty of time. You can see already everyone starting to improve their times pretty significantly. Reece Wakefield, although holding the top time, doesn't actually have a purple sector this time around, even though he's improved in both of his first 2. That's a little unusual, I've got to say.
Yeah, it is. I'm wondering too about that 33-kilometre winds too. That's something that you don't have too often on racetracks. Of course, it's just close shy of 20 degrees for track temperature. But I wonder where it will push those cars around specifically, and what direction it's coming from. I like have a look at the weather. But,
yeah, it's a stiff one, isn't it? It's absolutely going to cause some issues for these drivers, I'm sure. As we see, Ryan Palmer comes through, improves his time. He's up into P5, so he's definitely been giving it a shot immediately, though. We see a couple of new entries into the top there. Mitch Curry having a great run in the Fezzer, loving the Ferrari, it seems. Jumps on up into P6, and you got to wonder if he's maybe kicking himself a little for not making the move across to the Ferrari a little bit earlier in the season. It's certainly done him well the last couple of rounds.
Of course, so. Yeah.
So can't argue with that.
Not bad, of course, in the virtual world, but in the real world, apparently they have a bit of a problematic car. So you wouldn't probably want to have one in your garage. Well, maybe don't take it out for a drive.
Well, look, honestly,
in GT3s, they're actually a pretty powerhouse as well as your Mercs, your Aston Martins don't do too bad as well. T Fords do pretty good on certain tracks as well. Too. McLaren's up there. But we'll see how it pans out. This track specifically, what would be suited, do you think, the best for these GT3s?
Oh, look, honestly, it's such a tight thing. Maybe at this level of competition, these drivers, they've got a bit of a better feel for each of them, as we see Hinds come across the line and improve his time, but not jump to the top. Hinds does jump to the top, I'm sorry, by the barest margins, and then Hayden Veld immediately afterwards, and Reece Wakefield straight afterwards. For a moment there, they were separated by less than a couple of hundredths, and then Reece has come through and gone, no thanks, I'll add a few tenths onto my gap. So they're definitely starting to find their groove.
Exactly. So 3/10 the rest of the field, but still some more time to come up as Luke gets himself up in a P4 at the moment. That pushes Danny P down to P5. Kyle Ridley's in P6. Liam Jensen, Mitch Curry, and Alex Tzoukas, or with Ryan Palmer in the top 10. Still a bit of time to go.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, right? We're only halfway through this qualifying session. And as always, open qualifying presents its own unique difficulties. Still plenty of the Koala Cartel cars getting around this week. Liam Tipping is back again. He's sitting in P7 at the moment as he starts another hot lap. Really not a great deal in it, as always. The intervals, as you can see down the timing tower, really a pretty close run contest, but maybe not as close as we're used to on some less difficult tracks. This is a really deceptive one again this week. It is very, very flowy, but you've really got to nail your line because there's very, very little room for stepping outside of that. The way that the marbles build up on this track so quickly off this racing line means that you basically lose all of your grip as soon as you try something new. And as we see them tipping heading around now, it's one of those tracks that I think is going to really test these drivers to not essentially sit in a line from start to finish across the 19 laps of each of the 3 races here tonight.
He's got the Koala Cartel as well in there. I don't even know how you could say a Koala Cartel, but there. Liam and Liam Show, of course, both the Liams are Koala Cartels. There's a few other in there as well, I believe. There are some of the Koala Cartel drivers.
Yeah, a few other getting around. Liam Tipping, Liam Jensen. You've got Thomas Cool and Cruz McVeigh 16th and 17th. That's right. Respectively. So a few of them throughout the field. Josh Harris right now not having the best week so far with his times. He's sitting back in 25th, which is a bit unusual for the ADHD driver. Maybe just not quite finding his rhythm here. What you'll notice there, folks, if you're paying close attention, I do know that the belt system that he's got set up is a new one. Yeah. So he's actually got one of the what are they called? I'm having a complete mental blank tonight. I'm sorry, folks, but the belt tightening systems. So essentially allowing you to feel the G-forces through those belts being pulled by a couple of motors down behind the seat.
Oh, does it really? I've never seen that before. I thought he had a motion rig for a sec, but it's
about the closest you can get. It's about the closest you can get. So you'll see as he hits those corners, it's not only is it actually those sharp movements we're seeing from our perspective, but as you turn, it'll actually
pulls him back when he brakes.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll actually increase the tension on one side or the other to simulate the G-forces of turning as well. So we'll have to get a bit of a review from him at some point on how he's finding it. I will say right now, it's not doing him any favours in his lap times, but I'm sure he's having more fun than he used to.
Yeah, exactly. He'd be go out there and could do an hour on a go-kart track and he'd be like, this is nothing, you know what I mean? I get to this all the time at home. Yeah, it would be great probably to have a chin wag to Josh in between perhaps the races, because I'm very interested. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, they're a pretty cool system, and I'm not going to lie, I've considered it just for the immersion factor. I do wonder just how good it is, so I'll definitely be picking his brain at some point.
It's a lot cheaper than motion rigs are a couple of grand at least, aren't they?
Look, these belt systems are not that cheap either, though, to be fair. They are pricey enough, to say the least. Thomas Hinds sets a new purple second sector. He hasn't quite got his quickest time through the first, but we'll see if he's able to improve his overall time here, and then we might actually jump on board for a run around the track here with Ryan Palmer as he's about to come around and finish his lap as well. So we'll wait a moment for him to get through. Hinds goes through, improves his time and does brilliantly, even though he was slower through the first sector than his best time. He's jumped to the top and gets ahead of Reese Wakefield. Wakefield just 8 thousandths behind.
Wow. After
running through on that lap as well. So we'll have to keep an eye on it, see how he goes. Ryan Palmer now will go on board, and this is what it looks like for a lap of Zandvoort. Long flowing right hand corner to get you started, and then a quick left right here, having to balance the car so carefully as you come over this crest. It unweights and then down into this left hand bank. You can see the amount of angle as the camera actually stays level with the horizon here. A lot of these corners here at Zandvoort do have these awkward little crests kind of midway through, and it unweights the suspension just enough that if you're not careful, you're going to find yourself sliding to the outside of the track. And unfortunately, those walls very, very close indeed, up and over that right-hand curb. You can see he's pretty intensely focused on that right-hand apex at the moment. Nails that one back on the power, and then another long left-hander here. It's again a really odd. Oh, that's gonna mess with his time a little, but not too much. Brad Coates just sliding off to the side there.
Planted.
Yep. Yeah, just goes a little wide, keeps on pushing. And then a tight right left here. Again, just ride the curb, make sure you don't unweight that rear end too much, flat onto it, and then you do get to this final corner, which is this double apexed right-hand bank. You get just a moment to straighten out here, and then straight back into the banking, foot flat to the floor, trust the banking to hold you there, right out to the wall, and down the main straight to finish it up. Ryan Palmer just going to pull it over here. He's not real happy with that lap, obviously, but not a bad way to go. As we see now, Luke Ewing come to the line.
Yeah, you can literally beach it out here on the beaches and the coastline of Zandvoort, but it's there to protect you to go into the safety barrier as much as possible. So all the top four have parked it, as we're at the dying stages now, the qualifying session. So none of those drivers are going to be able to improve. It's only the drivers that are out on track at the moment. Can any of them dethrone those top four drivers, who are essentially almost the top four drivers in the championship as well?
It seems pretty unlikely at this point. Positions. A couple of people moving up through the field, but that'll do it for our qualifying session. And we'll be getting underway in just a moment as we wait for the official results to come through. the grid will look a little like this. Thomas Hinz just barely hangs onto that pole ahead of Reece Wakefield, only 8 thousandths of a second in it in the end. Haydenveld and Daniel Poulton on row number 2, then Luke Newing and Ryan Palmer row 3. Thomas Cool and Liam tipping behind them. Kyle Ridley and James Salhani round out your top 10 for race number 1 here. Cruz McPhee and Alex Zekas just missing out on that top 10 spot with Dean Powell and Liam Jensen behind them. Jared Burns and Brad Coates on row 8 ahead of Mitch Curry and Ian Ward. Then Jackson Austin and Vince Salvatore rounding out the top 20. Nathan Bowman and Chris Lashbrook behind them. Chris Crote and Josh Harrison. Keith Logan and Lucas Baker ahead of Darren Lofton and Charlie Milliken. Jackson Starrett and Dan Mirko behind them, with Brian East not setting a time. Scott Bartine and Nathan Allen both sitting waiting for the opportunity to jump into that safety car this evening. And I don't know, my money's on it tonight, I reckon, Biggles. It's one of those tracks that I think has a pretty fair chance of causing some carnage, because there just is not a lot of room on that racing line.
Do you think we're going to get a safety car?
Look, I think we will. The question is whether it'll be, will it be turn 1, race 1? Will it be race 1 at all? Will it be race 2? It's a little hard to say at this point. You got to think, but it's almost feels guaranteed here at Zandvoort, just on the basis of the track layout.
Yeah, and of course on that sweeping banking elevation turn that you mentioned before too, that's unfortunately where Daniel Ricciardo busted his wrist, and that wasn't didn't feel like a heavy crash, but that's what the impact has on a steering wheel, isn't it? And of course these drivers you can injure yourself in a steering wheel on a force feedback steering wheel, stuff like that, but fingers crossed, let's hope maybe it does, or maybe as you saw before with the straps on there, you could say that could tighten up, so you'd be like, I can't breathe properly or something like that, pulls you too tight. I wonder what happens when you crash with that on.
Look, hopefully
simulating like 12 forces, just 12 G's of force on you.
Yeah, we might
think it'd go that hard.
actually just drag Josh Harris on in here as we wait another 30 seconds. Actually, you know what? We'd better leave him. He's prepping for his first race. We will grab him just a little bit later on and have a quick chat, I'm sure. But for the moment, just about 30 seconds left before we get underway with race 1. Hope you're all having an amazing time at home, and for all of those who are in the Brisbane area, fingers crossed you've avoided any of the rather nasty sized hail over the weekend. It seems to have skirted my place, which I'm pretty happy for. Biggles, I don't know how you've gone.
No, thankfully no, because I got a lot of solar panels out there. I don't need all them smashed up.
That'd be less than ideal, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
All right, we are ready to get racing here, folks. Heat 1 for this evening. 3 races total, 19 laps of sprint racing in each one. And we just have the last couple of drivers to jump to the grid. Jackson Starrett down the back of the grid, not yet on there. So we're just waiting on confirmation as to whether or not he'll be starting on the grid or perhaps starting from the pits. But Thomas Hinz will be waiting to get this one underway. As we get confirmation, the green flag is waved at the back of the field. Our lights come up. And we are away for race number 1. A big spin of tyres there from, was that Daniel Poulton having an awful start by looks. We've immediately got incidents at the back of the field. Vince Salvatore and Lucas Baker coming together off the start. The rest of the field makes their way down through turn 1. And we get racing for the first time here this evening at Zandvoort. And you can see already the drivers piling through this left hand. Look, I don't know if it's even tight enough to call it a hairpin, but it certainly is a pretty long left-hander. At the moment, Wakefield and Hinz out in front. Reece Wakefield getting the jump on Hinz off the line. Veld is right there, though, as is Ryan Palmer, as we head our way through this opening lap. And it does look like Salvatore and Baker have both gotten themselves sorted one way or the other and got rolling again, but it'll be a bit of a limp back to the pits for them as we see the field come on through and starting to sort out a bit of a racing order here. It won't be long before they won't have the room to go side by side here, because you'll start to see that build up of tyre debris and just kitty litter really everywhere around this track. The movers so far: Ryan Palmer up 2 spots, Daniel Poulton down 2, Kyle Ridley up a couple as well. Thomas Cool had an awful start, he's down 3 places. as we make our way through for the first time. Now, I am going to check in and see why it's telling us 17 laps for this first one, because I believe it was set to be 19 laps. There may have been a late change from race control. I'll try and get that sorted out. There you go.
It's set at 17 for some reason. Exactly. Vince couldn't get off the line there, had a lot of wheel spin, and then just basically went around there. Lucas Baker had nowhere to go there and slammed into the back of him. That was the situation. But that's so far so good. That's the only incident that I can see.
Yeah, it certainly could have been worse, couldn't it? Because the problem with those early incidents, you see them swing so wide to try and open that corner up and take advantage of that banking. The problem with those start line incidents is it's so easy to go from one car or two cars getting a bit of a poor start to all of a sudden taking out half of the field. So glad to see that it hasn't impacted too many people. You can see Vince Salvatore sitting in the pits at the moment, so he'll be looking to get some repairs done. Looks like he lost a bit of bodywork there. Wakefield, Hinz and Veld starting to try and pull away from Ryan Palmer. That gap out to almost 8/10, so he'll be fighting hard to try and just stay in touch there. Otherwise, it's basically a train from here on back. And not surprising here at Zandvoort.
About the overtaking difficulty, obviously level of overtaking at the moment, because there really hasn't been, just apart from the race start, there hasn't been too much overtaking action on track. And that's the beauty too that we're going to have of a couple of heat races too, because when we get that reverse grid in there, you might see some drivers that are hindered in speed when they have to reverse those grids. But so far so good. I mean, the majority of the field there, they're only just up a couple of places, swapped a couple of places. Looks like Lucas Baker might have gone off track somewhere just for a little while, but it's back on.
We see Liam Jensen starting to get the move. He's up the inside of Mitch Curry here, so overtakes him and down into turn one. Curry on the brakes just a little bit earlier. He's going to look for an over-under here. Jensen just hugs that inside, shuts the door on him, and he won't be going anywhere. So Curry back into 16th. Brad Coates will be right behind and trying to do the same. As he zooms in and look at that, just takes the inside line through the banking, but he's going to have to slow right down to hold on to that. These tyres won't quite be up to temp just yet. But they'll certainly be getting close. As we see a big moment, Jared Burns comes together with Alex Zekas, and somehow, I speak too soon, I was going to say somehow he survived it, but he ends up caught on the inside of that apex, and now he's going to have to sit and just wait for the rest of the field to go through to make sure that he doesn't get taken out. Alex Zekas, meanwhile, struggling to get back up and going. Took a little bit of extra time to try and recover from that one. Just behind these guys, Darren Lofton and Chris Lashbrook just getting caught up in it as well. Lashbrook holding him off for the moment, but Lofton looking for another opportunity to get back in, having maybe a little bit of an issue there perhaps with the connection. Hopefully that sorts itself out. Up the front though, Wakefield and Hinz just pulling away at the moment, but Hayden Veld staying right with them, and he'll be looking for a move on Hinz here, I'm sure.
He could have a run. He got a good exit on the final turn.
Just set
also got Carl Ridley and Danny P. Yeah, he's found something at the moment. They just seem a lot much more comfortable, not using so much of the chicane on the exit as well too, whereas he's really forcing Thomas to do a bit of mirror driving at the moment.
Might go back and take a quick look at what happened off the start line there for Vince Salvatore, and in the iRacing Designs replay you can see just a really poor start and just gets it loose, ends up spun around, and unfortunately, well, good for Lucas Baker, he was able to pull up, and although it did show up as a crash on our telemetry, not really too much of a touch there, so he's managed to carry on, and Salvatore thankfully not doing too much damage to anyone else around him, just a little bit of his pride more than anything. And
Lucas has been off the track a couple of times, so I'm not sure if he did cop a little bit of damage on that. It's just running wide a few. I mean, that may just be not having so much luck around Zandvoort, or another thing could have a slight bit of damage. But that's the situation. Hayden's backed off a little bit now from Thomas, but the action is around, you'd have to say, 6th and 7th there. So you've got Danny P putting some pressure on Carl, Leon putting some pressure on Danny P, James putting some pressure on Liam. So
3 Koala Cartel cars in the mix here as well. Kyle Ridley just holding the front of this train while Ryan Palmer and Luke Newing look to pull away out in front if they can. They make their way through the banking to finish another lap. And Wakefield sits the fastest time at 1:31.8, a tenth faster than Thomas Hind behind him. So Wakefield's starting to just try and pull away a little bit and give himself just a little breathing room as we get to just about a third of the way through this opening race. And already you're starting to see some pretty sizable gaps open up here, Biggles.
That there is, absolutely. You can see the spread from the top three down to Ryan. And then you've got a bit of a gap there behind Luke. So that's a situation. And further back behind Dean Powell, you've got Mitch Curry and stuff having a little lonely race there with, well, he's got Brad Coates on the back there of the boss man.
Oh, look at Jackson Austin pushing for this pass. He's gone off the track on the inside, just trying to find a way through. Hayden spun. Hayden has spun at the front of the grid, and he's hit the wall in a big way. Hayden Veld, some serious damage to that Lamborghini. He's going to wait this out, but he's going to be heading for the pits to try and get that repaired. He is carrying a meatball, so whether or not he's actually going to be able to get it back there or not is a whole other question. We might be waiting on a safety car for that one. We'll have a look again and see what's happened. Go up to replay, just catches that curb, and that's enough to unsettle it. Then can't get it pulled up, just backs it into the wall there. The spoiler just decides to hold on a moment longer to that rear right. Some serious damage. And I don't think you'll be able to limp that one back.
Yeah, we'll see at the moment. You got a battle there between Luke and Ryan Palmer. Ryan Palmer's going to try to squeeze up the inside. That's the battle for P3. And he does get the job done, actually, on Luke Ewing. So old RP up 3 places currently at the moment. So that's fantastic. Chris Goat had a bit of a crash there as well, too. A bit of an off-track. I don't think it's that serious. We're not sure about Hayden, who is down pit road at the moment. But this is what happened to Chris. Just went a little
around. And this is the thing with Zandvoort, isn't it? You can so easily just overstep the limits of the tyres. And this is all this is all you get as a result. It's just a gentle spin, but it's enough to lose you quite a few places. The rest of the field comes charging on through. So Jared Burns may have had a bit of an issue further back in the field as well. So he's contacted the wall there. By the look at things, the inside of that hairpin left-hander. Meanwhile, further up through the field, Alex Zekas getting the job done with Nathan Bowman just opening the door a little too wide, and Zekas will take the position. Jackson Austin still in behind Nathan Bowman, so he hasn't managed to find his way through just yet. Makes me wonder if there might have been a little bit of contact there that's allowed Zekas to just go past Bowman and Austin, because they've been battling hard for a while now. Nathan Bowman doing a great job of holding Jackson Austin at bay, but maybe giving the spot up to Alex Zekas perhaps a little too easily.
It's, well, as you can see, obviously with Alex is not down where he didn't want to be in this race after that off-track excursion. So he's down 4 places at the moment, trying to battle his way back up through, which is not an easy situation. This is a precursor for what's going to happen with that reverse top 10 grid, because these drivers are going to have to know that they're going to have to take some time to get their way through. It's not going to be as easy pickings like they do on some other tracks.
Yeah, no, it's going to be very, very tough to get it past done. You can see that right throughout the field. So many drivers getting close, but just not able to find their way through. James Delhani desperately looking for a way past Liam Tipping. He's sandwiched in between the 2 Koala Cartel cars at the moment, and just trying to find a line that allows you to actually make the move is the toughest part. You really do need to get it done under brakes, just get alongside and force that other driver wide. You're not likely to find another line through any of these corners that's actually going to allow you to pull away in any meaningful manner here at Zandvoort. It's a really, really tough track. You can see the drivers using all of the track and then some, a bit of dirt just getting kicked up there and probably a bit of debris onto the track, so that's going to make life difficult for everyone coming through behind them. Liam Tipping still holding James Salhani off, but just how long can he hang on to it? The drivers go really, really wide on the entry to this final bank. They want to use as much of the curve as they possibly can, but you can see it's kicking up quite a bit of dust every time, and that'll mean there is a bit of debris getting onto the track. Salhani looks to the outside, goes just a little bit deeper under brakes. He's going to have a little bit of overlap here. Can he get back under? He does. Oh, and in the background, Thomas Cool just overcooks it. overcooks it on the exit. He was trying too hard to stay with James Salhani, and in the end couldn't get there. And Salhani looks to have shaken Cruz McPhee quite comfortably in the end. I'm not quite sure how he's wandered on through there, but Salhani now just gets some clear air in amongst all of that.
Well, because there's contact, I think, with Tipping, if I'm not mistaken, or Tipping has come in contact with Thomas Krul. Something's happened between those two drivers, and Liam's struggling big time. There's one spin in the background, but then you're going to see contact there as well.
So Salhani up the inside, and look, whether Tipping's turned across the front or what, in any case, it does mean that James Salhani's gone through. Tipping has ended up with a meatball, so he's going to have to go in and get that fixed up. A little further back, we've got this pack going on in the battle for really now 10th, I would say. Ahead of Liam Jensen, you've got Brad Coates just a little further up, but then Ian Ward, Mitch Curry, Alex Zekas, Nathan Bowman, and Jackson Austin still behind Nathan Bowman. Thomas Hinn sets the fastest lap now, a 10th quicker than Reese Wakefield. So those two are going to be battling it all the way to the end at this point. As we come on through this final banking, Brad Coates goes through first, and the rest of this pack follows through down the main straight, and you can see just a little bit of a look up the inside from Seekers. I don't know if he's going to be close enough to make the move here on Curry. He has a big think about it. Curry leaves the door wide open, almost inviting Seekers through. Doesn't happen. Meanwhile, in the background, Nathan Bowman still managing to hold off Jackson Austin, but only just. And it's actually starting to cost these guys a bit of time as they fall off the back of that pack.
It's all happening.
It is. It's going to be one of those races where we have to keep our eyes on the timing tower just to see what we're missing, because there's plenty of close battles going on. But the problem, of course, with all these drivers is they might be stuck there for quite a few laps, and this is one of those points where the patience and the nerve for drivers really tested. You're going to be put under huge pressure from the driver trying to make that pass, and you've got to just hold your lines, play defensively, and make sure that you don't give that position up. And we see almost there Zekas getting past Mitch Curry. Curry just barely hanging on to his position at the moment, but Alex Zekas is threatening in a big way. Curry's going to have to find just a little bit of extra gear to hold him off by the look of things, because Alex is absolutely flying and just keeps closing that gap behind the Ferrari. Still 7 laps to go here. Can Mitch Curry hang on?
He's going to have, well, at the moment, looks like Alex is going to have a very good run here out of the final corner. Come down the straight start finishing line, and I think it's going to be pretty hard there for Mitch to defend on this one. He's going to have to go a lot deeper into the corner, which he will actually. Alex did back off a little bit. Tries the over and under. Yeah.
Oh, so close there. I was worried that Curry was going to push on through there, even with Zekas having the better of the runs out of the corner. Meanwhile, in the background, Liam Tipping has just picked up another meatball, and I think he's had a pretty rough run in trying to get back through the field.
He's struggling big time.
He's had a lot of problems.
He's just coming in pit road now with a pretty dinged up Ferrari, my friend. And
you can see the issue here. He's missing that rear wing, and that's going to be causing all sorts of problems with downforce on the Aston. And he's basically just keeping it off the track for the moment, just to try and get it around to the pits. But look at the damage on the rear end of that thing. It is not sitting well at all. Yeah. And he's doing everything he can to get it back to the pits in one piece and stay out of the way. This is the thing, right? You come somewhere like Zandvoort, and this is actually probably the safest way he could have gone about trying to get it back there, because otherwise he'd be out on a very, very narrow track with some very fast cars coming past him. I would probably rather be sitting off track as well.
He did a good job to bring it back there at the moment. So you got Liam on Brad, the nice battle for 10th and 11th. Ian just down there, and then of course Alex Tzidakis is flying pretty quickly up as well. I think at the moment, if you're Alex from the number 90 Ford, you were thinking best possible you could do in the next remaining 7 laps is to get yourself that P10. So you started on pole and try to drive away from the rest of the field in our second race.
And somehow Bowman and Austin have both gone past Mitch Curry in all of that as well. We might go back and take a look at that in just a moment. Ryan Palmer under massive attack from Luke Newing at the moment, so he's holding on to third by just a couple of tenths.
So,
Not much in it.
And there's the battle for the lead is heating up as well too, because Thomas has been putting in some banking laps there from catching Reese. Reese is now, they are catching traffic as well, so on top of it they've got a couple of lap cars to scoot on by. I'm thinking Thomas will be hoping that some of those cars do hinder Reese a little bit there, so he can attack.
He'd be hoping, wouldn't he?
He wants it back, remember, so there's a switcheroo from the start of this race. Thomas was on pole, Reese was second. Now, in the race, Reese is first, Thomas is second.
Wakefield, look, just hanging in there at the moment. That's all he really needs to do. He's in the much stronger position because it will be very, very hard for him to make it past the lap traffic, just getting very much out of the way, and probably for the best, because these two have been putting in some very, very fast laps, both in the low 32s, high 31s, which is, looks significantly quicker than most of the rest of the field, as Hinds closes in again on Wakefield.
Yeah, Thomas looks a bit quicker here now at this part of the race, isn't it? It's something's just firing on all cylinders there.
Yeah,
Thomas,
he's found something. I don't know what it is, but he's definitely found something here, and Wakefield is just hanging on.
I wonder if this lap car's going to get into play here at the moment. Where are they going to go? They're going to go side by side almost at the moment, around the outside.
Strangely enough, that's
traffic
Hayden
up the
Feld.
road.
Hayden Feld back in P30. A very, very unusual spot for him to be sitting.
Where they approach him too. Obviously, if they approach him through any of these kind of S's that you see around here, it's very hard for him to get completely out of the way off track. Is this bringing? Well. Not going to bring. Yeah, there it is. So he got off the exit and let them through, no problems. Ryan's about 6 seconds to change down the road. He's got his own issues to deal with.
Alex Seekers has gone around in the middle of track, and he's stranded. Very, very nearly got wiped out there, and lucky to not have a bigger issue.
Hard, isn't he? Trying to get back in the top 10. Here we go, but Thomas and Reese. Oof. See for now, I'll get past another lap car. Thomas is throwing the dummy at him at the moment, my friend. And Reese is certainly making sure that he's putting that car in all the right places, the Mercedes.
That's about all he can do at this point. You know,
kind of wolf happy.
If you're Reese Wakefield, you're hoping for some slower traffic you can maybe use to just try and slow him down here and just put it in his way as you go past. But it unfortunately hasn't worked out for him that way. Yeah, there's nothing ahead of him, so it's really all on Wakefield. And you can see the differences in the setups and in the various cars' speed here. Big dummy there from Hinds, who just tries to draw Wakefield in to defend, can't quite get there. But Hinds is absolutely flying, keeps closing that gap down. Every time Wakefield opens it back up, Hinds is straight back to within a couple of tenths on the way out of the corner. So that Corvette handling really, really nicely here. Wakefield does get a little bit of a better run there, but it could just be Hinds setting up for the run out of this final bank turn. Always hard to tell what a driver's going to try and do. Looks like Wakefield, though, getting a bit of breathing room here as we come down the main straight. And yeah, we're getting into those last few laps here, Biggles. I don't know that Reese Wakefield's going to be able to hold on to this, because look at Thomas Hinds close in again.
Oh, it's quite possible. It's quite possible. You see, when Thomas has come in, if Thomas does try a complete offline attack here, he's going to compromise it. If he doesn't get the job done, it's going to compromise the exit, and that's going to cost him about half a second to try that all over again. The problem is don't have enough time on his side. I was wondering if he was going to bring Ryan Palmer into play, these two battling, but it's not. They're still keeping Ryan about almost 6.5 seconds behind. So Ryan's going to be focusing on keeping Luke behind him and secure that P3 position. And while we've still got Mitch Curry that's gone off track a couple of times, but Mitch is still running in that P15 place. He's still up a couple of places from the start of the race. Biggest gainer so far really is Norman Borman. He's up 8. He's in P13.
And still he's holding Jackson Austin behind him.
Yeah.
He's
a defensive driver, Max. That's why you give him the maximum effort racing team, because Norman's always been a notoriously difficult driver to get past, which just goes to show he's a very good defensive driver.
Yeah, Jackson Austin's just got no answer at the moment, so I think maybe just happy to sit in behind and wait and hope that Nathan does find a mistake here somewhere. And that might be it. Jackson Austin gets a bit of a run, but a slide from the Ferrari pushes it just a little bit too hard, and just like that, the moment passes and Bowman gets back in front and will continue to hold on to P13 there. Tell you what, so close and yet so far for Jackson Austin. Mitch Curry just trying to stick with these guys and look for a way through as well.
So crunch time, about 3 laps to go, but don't worry, this is only the first race. We're going to be repeating this for another 2 more times after.
It will be 17 laps each time, not 19. So a bit of a late change there. Perhaps, or indeed, perhaps I've just misread the calendar when I was putting it together. It's always possible as well. Human error is the thing after all, Biggles.
You're a human, I'm an AI bot.
And it's made so much, honestly.
Yeah, exactly.
Danny P now all over the back of Kyle Ridley. He's looking to pick up an extra spot or 2 if he can. Ridley's up 4 at the moment. But Danny P down 2 still from where he started. Not a great start off the line from him. Ridley getting pushed wide. Danny P's going to be alongside here, but Ridley will be on the inside for the next turn. So he'll hold that line and just make it all too difficult to get that Mercedes through at the moment. Ridley runs very wide in the exit, a bit of an error, and that's going to allow Danny through and into P5, so picks up 1 more spot, and that'll be a few extra points under his belt in just a couple of laps time.
And the heat's still at the front there with Thomas trying everything he can. He's going to throw the kitchen sink, the cats, the dogs, the kids, the caravan.
Honestly.
Jared's caravan, he'd be chucking that out and see if he can get himself past. But I think Reese, he just knows that it's difficult around here. All he has to do is just make sure he can continue to drive the way he's driving and force Thomas to send something, and hope that he's got enough of the exit power to get to save this one. It'll be interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing these two in the reverse grid too go at it. Coming up soon.
Yeah, it'll be very, very tight. Here we go. Hinden's got a great run on him here. Has a big look up the inside. Can't get there though, and this is the thing with Zandvoort. These corners just flow into each other so well that even though you've got a great run, finding a line through is very, very tricky. So Hinds just has to stick with him. He can't let that gap open back up. He needs to stay within a couple of tenths to have a shot on the braking into turn 1 on this next lap. That's really what he needs to be thinking about setting up here. You can see a bit of a wiggle from both those cars. These guys are pushing very, very hard out in front at the moment. Hinds has another look up the inside, just throws the car into the mirrors. Wakefield holding his line. Hinds, though, just starting to drop off a little bit here. Doesn't have the outright pace out of the corner that the Mercedes does, so he needs to stick close here for a shot into turn 1. They're going to get the white flag on this run past, and it'll be 1 more lap for Thomas Hinds to try and pick up that extra spot.
And this is where you get your overtaking done, down into the hairpin turn 1. I mean, this is still more exciting than a Snorfest or Formula 1 at this track, that's for sure.
Yeah, I can't imagine F1 being great here. I really can't.
It's horrible. I mean, probably 2 minutes of highlights at best if you're lucky in that one. But yeah, track's a little bit too small per se. Too many corners, not enough long straights. But I mean, we need push to passes for this series for GT3s, I say, because I love it in the Super Formulas. Super Formulas, it makes a huge difference in racing when you got that overtake button to use.
The fun part, of course, most people don't realise that push to pass is even a thing in the Super Formulas.
Yes,
I've seen plenty of leagues where people just aren't using it and rob themselves.
They're not using it? I mean, the Super Formula Lights don't have it, but the Super Formulas have it.
Super Formulas, I've seen that a couple of times where...
Wow.
Yeah, there's just... there's not the realisation you can hit that button and open it on up. You see Luke Newing still trying
where's he got to
here.
get this done now? He's only essentially got, a snapping right little semi-hairpin here. You got a short straight. So 2 sweeping right-handers. I don't think there's anything at the moment. I think Reese has this one covered. Thomas would have to send a late dive ball here. Wouldn't be worth risking.
You can't see it happening this time, can you? I think it's... and look, this is the thing. Thomas Hinds will absolutely be happy with this. Reece Wakefield going to come across, get the checkered flag there, and Thomas Hinds just barely sneaks across in second. Not much in it at all. Ryan Palmer comes
8
home
seconds to Ryan
on the podium, which he'll be very happy with. You can see the rest of the field starting to flow through now. James Salhani at the back of that group. Chris McPhee all on his own back there. Still a couple of battles going on. Alex Vikas.
Yeah, Chris has gone off the track somewhere. Maybe he's in contact with Brian. Yeah, Brian's missing his whole front end. So these guys didn't realise that you still got one more lap. Don't bid it just yet, gentlemen. See the checkered flag.
Yeah, got to make it home. That always counts for a whole lot more than throwing heroics in there at the last minute. G'day, Jason. Alex had a rough start, unfortunately, and found himself a long way down through the field. He'll come across the line in 18th, and not probably the way he was hoping to start this one. Brian East bringing some damage home. He'll be dragging that front left all the way back. I suspect there probably was perhaps a little bit of contact there with Chris Lashbrook, maybe. So Lashbrook...
no, he's lost it on his own.
He's lost it on his own there. Is there contact net? There it is.
There, yeah.
So he tries to get it going. Brian East, unfortunately...
Tried to move. He probably... It's a bit of a... Shouldn't have moved forward a little bit. Might have been enough chance for him to sneak through. But also, coming back to Josh Harris, well, with his new fancy device, per se, he did finish 9 places up. And I remember that was P15 or something. Somewhere around.
Yeah, look, not a bad run. After all, we'll take a quick look at the results while we get the grid up and running for race number 2. Reece Wakefield takes the win by 2/10 over Thomas Hinds, and Ryan Palmer and Luke Newing, Danny P and Kyle Ridley ahead of James Salhani and Chris McPhee. Then Dean Powell and Liam Jensen round out your top 10. So that will be reversed. Liam Jensen and Dean Powell will take the front row. Brad Coates, Ian Ward, Nathan Bowman, Mitch Curry, Josh Harris, Thomas Cool, Keith Logan, Alex Sekas, Darren Lofton and Dan Mirko rounding out your top 20 there in race number 1. Further back through the field, Charlie Milliken and Jackson Austin ahead of Chris Croton, Jared Burns, then Lucas Baker and Brian East, the last to finish on the lead lap. Lashbrook, Salvatore, Tipping and Veld all having a bit of a rough run. Jackson Starrett not making the start there by the look of things. So hopefully making it back for race number 2.
Yeah, wonder if we can have a chin wag, you said to Josh. I'm just curious to know how that felt.
Yeah, we'll see if we can grab him between race 2 and 3 when they've got a little bit more time to play with there.
Yes.
Gridding
right,
straight into race 2 here. This is the front end. So Liam Jensen and Dean Powell ahead of Chris McPhee and James Salhani. Then Kyle Ridley and Danny P ahead of Luke Newing and Ryan Palmer. Thomas Hinds and Reece Wakefield your top 10. We look a bit further back through the pack. This will be how they finished in the last race. Brad Coates and Ian Ward on row 6 ahead of Nathan Bowman and Mitch Curry. Then Josh Harris and Thomas Cool with Keith Logan and Alex Sekas. Darren Lofton and Dan Mirko round out your top 20. We move further back through the grid. Charlie Milliken and Jackson Austin on row 11 ahead of Chris Croton, Jared Burns, and Lucas Baker and Brian East. Chris Lashbrook and Vince Salvatore on row 14 with Liam Tipping and Hayden Veld rounding out the 30. Behind them, Jackson Starrett not starting in race 1. Scott Bartine, Nathan Allen, and of course our great race control team will all be sitting on the sidelines and hopefully not called on again for this race.
No change in the temperature on this race, so it looks almost identical to what it was the last race. About 38-degree winds. Look to be southwesterly per se on the track there, about 19-degree track temperature. So let's see how it goes for the likes of Thomas and Reece for the battle between those two. But now they've got 8 cars ahead of them to try to navigate through. Can Liam Jensen, the Qualic Hotel there, and Dean Powell get up the road there, get themselves a nice little gap there, and that way they can only just have to play defensive driving for the remaining of the 17 laps we have for this race, mate.
Wind really picking up here. It's gusting up to around 40 k's an hour, so I do wonder how that's going to cause any sort of issue with the well, right? It's what we've been very used to over the last few days. I'm kind of expecting a storm to roll through any time now. But I don't know that the Netherlands really get storms like we do here in southeast Queensland. The lights are up as we get ready to go racing for 17 more laps here. Liam Jensen and Dean Powell have the front row and they are away for race number 2. A brilliant start from Ryan Palmer. He gets immediately up the middle and he'll be looking to take a couple of spots down into turn 1 and 3 wide through turn 1. and on the way back out again. Kyle Ridley up front as well. Ryan Palmer has one of the Koala Cartel cars slide across behind him as they start to get into their racing line now, down through the first of these notorious little curbs. We're still not into any sort of a racing line, but in the back of the pack though. Bit of a slowdown for Jackson Austin. He clears that fairly easily. Dean Power and James Salhani now up 2 spots already. Liam Jensen has fallen right back, and there's contact there. That's Liam Jensen.
Oh, Ryan.
And Brian Palmer has gone around there off into, and more. That's Mitch Curry. Mitch Curry has gone sliding off the track as well. We've got chaos everywhere. I count 1, 2 ADHD cars caught up in that. That's a big one. And that is a safety
car. I think, they have to call it a safety car at the moment. That's too many cars off into the kitty litter. They all want to go for a swim down here in Zandvoort, my friend. Unfortunately, you've got to go a little bit further over to the beaches. But Liam Jensen, Ryan, Josh Harris, Mitch Curry, Ian Ward, Dan Micro, Brad Coates. There's a lot of Top Gun names here. That's that was a... I don't know. We don't know how much damage they got, but definitely a safety car, which I think Scotty's out at the moment. Scott Bartine's out. If everything simulated racing. Pace car.
Right on into it.
The pack
I think Liam Jensen was the first car that kind of went off there. We'll go back and take a look. The iRacing Designs replay. You can see he just gets... big... okay. So he's jumped the curve there. And he's gone into the wall, but immediately from there... You can see Mitch Curry and I think that was Josh Harris that came sliding across straight afterwards. And same thing almost, just Mitch Curry actually gets a bit caught up and tags Josh Harris on the outside there. So shenanigans all over. Ryan Palmer somehow managed to keep it going there. Not much of a J-turn, gets a nudge around from Thomas Hinz. And then off to the side of the track, just absolutely caught up in it all. And then Brad Coates somehow copped as well. You saw the road open up, but then all of a sudden he's right in the middle and a bit of contact from behind there. Almost looks a little netcode-ish. But unfortunately finds himself off the track again. And it's a less than ideal start for a lot of those drivers. The iRacing Designs replay, as always, picking up all of the action for us.
Wrapping it up for us, exactly. It all started in Liam, that's right. Liam Jensen, unfortunately, no contact with another car, but unfortunately, look at the kitty litter all kicked up over that corner too.
That's going to cause some real issues.
Fun. Yeah. Liam, of course, hitting that chicane, and then ploughing him into the side there of Ryan Palmer, and then going off the kitty litter, and then Ryan Palmer, of course, coming back on the track. A few other drivers had to make avoiding action. And that's unfortunately just how it goes. High-speed corner too, so, there's not a lot of time for drivers to react on that. That's our first safety car called out for Stephen. At least Scotty gets a couple of laps under his belt. I mean, he's been sitting there eager in the 909 Mercedes safety car to get out there and lead a couple of laps.
Oh, why not? Get a little bit of drive time in for sure. Dean Powell, James Salhani, Kyle Ridley, Danny P and Reese Wakefield all the cars that managed to avoid the chaos there. Dean and James Salhani up a couple of spots, Kyle Ridley up a couple, Danny P up a couple, and Reese Wakefield makes his way up 5 spots. So you can see the 2-1 Performance Racing Mercedes right there in 4th and 5th. Behind them, Cruz McVee down 3 spots, probably not too unhappy to somehow avoid it all. Luke Newing, about the only driver who is still where he started in 7th. Then you've got Thomas Hinz and Thomas Kuhl behind, who have both picked up some spots. Thomas Hinz has picked up 1, Thomas Kuhl has picked up 7. And the numbers just continue from there, really. Alex Seegas up 8, Dan Merko up 8. Hayden Veld and Liam Tipping up 14 and 12, respectively, in 16th and 17th. So they've managed to make their way through a lot of that kerfuffle and pick up some good spots early on.
Have a look at, there's 2 drivers that had a really good race start. Unfortunately now for Ryan Palmer, but have a look at Ryan Palmer's race start if you can.
Kyle, he had a huge one.
Ridley also had a great launch off there as well, too, I imagine, to get themselves a handful of cars. But you have a look there of Ryan Palmer. Unfortunately now he's had to drop back in the field there because of the incident. But have a look at the launch he gets, straight up through the middle there. Goes, thank you, I'll take a 2-for-1 special. Kyle Ridley also does the same thing. Good launch off the inside. Goes straight through the middle. There's enough space between the drivers there. So he's happy with that one. Tucks in behind Kyle, but of course the shenanigans happen a little bit further up, and this is where nowhere to go. You can see Palmer and Jensen will get into each other, and a little bit later up here in the high-speed part of the track. And of course it takes out some of that race effort start. But Kyle Ridley still up 2 places. There it is. There's something you're going to do, mate. Nothing you can do.
How's the slide, though? Just nowhere to go.
Yeah.
Hins did his best to turn it around.
He didn't hit the anchors either. He let the car roll back with momentum, which is a good thing, because absolutely slamming the anchors on may have...
I think that's about the best he could have done at that point. He was 180 degrees to his direction. If I had to be really critical of it, I would suggest that he should have turned the other way when he tried to turn it off the track. But I mean, that's being hypercritical while you're sliding backwards at 100-something k an hour. I don't think we can fault him for it.
And you're thinking opposite too, aren't you? Because you're thinking, well, is it left or right? And if you snap it the wrong way, then you could make the situation worse. But,
And ultimately, even if he had gone the other way, if he had gone off into the kitty litter, he probably would have sustained worse damage because he wouldn't have had any traction at all to try and pull it up. Just rocking a hard place for Ryan Palmer, and he's now going to have to fight his way back from 22nd.
Yeah, best you can do is just get yourself fast for the field, but be very careful doing it as well too. Because remember, Alex was pushing, made up a lot of those places that he'd lost in that first heat race, and unfortunately had a moment there and dropped it all. So you be careful. But Alex in this race is up 8 places in P10, so he'd be pretty happy. He's got the 2 Thomases ahead of him in 8th and 9th. Reese Swagfield, of course, we're going to keep an eye on. Always keep an eye on Reese. He's up 5 and he's in P5. Danny P's in 4. He's up a couple. James Sahani, that's going to be good for James. We'll see what pressure James can do here on Dean, because James, of course, is another championship contender, and he could be happy getting some good results here.
Yeah, still plenty of opportunity. We're only 3 laps in. The tyres will still be cold, so these drivers will have to be very, very careful as they make their way down towards the start-finish line. A control line will give them the green flag, and Dean Powell now ready to go as he leads them back down the straight. You can see the drivers piling up behind. Interestingly, and this is a bit of a Ryan Palmer special, you can see he's already jumped a place in the background. I'm not surprised to see that. Dean Powell held that line, held that group up a lot longer than he was actually necessarily needing to. A lot of drivers do often forget that the control line is actually a fair way back from where the start line is. And so Dean Powell probably went an extra, 100 metres before making the jump than he probably actually needed to. And he's just lucky that the rest of the field didn't call him on it and actually pass him on the way up the straight. However, Ryan Palmer, on the other hand, did actually get a move done early. And we can see cars off in the background, and Jackson Austin getting caught up in it as well. Same place again, but look at the amount of dust kicked up back there. Chris Lashbrook getting caught up in it as well. Josh Harris, I think, has just avoided it somehow, but I'll tell you
Nathan's
what.
off into the
we've got
fence.
And that's Cruz McPhee has had a big moment as well. So plenty going on out in front.
Ewing,
Dean Powell, James Sahani, Kyle Ridley, and the 2 One Performance Racing entries of Portland and Wakefield.
Josh Harris is off too, mate. Again, sorry, there's a bunch happening at the back there. But the thing is, there's no. Oh, there is some debris on there. There's a couple other cars. I don't know. Most of those cars got moving after all these little off-track excursions. I think they are going again. I don't think we're going to be having another safety car call. No, safety car's out. Scotty's been called back out again.
So it has been a pretty significant issue on the restart. We've got a few that we can go back and have a look at. So we can see Scott Bartine's straight back out there. A rough one. It looks like Dan Merco and Jackson Austin might have been the first to get caught up in it. Let's see what we can see on the iRap Designs replay. Keep your eye on this as we come on through. Dan Merco runs it wide, and in the background, that looks like Jackson Austin running off track. So those guys just running a little bit wide and not too much in it. Liam Tipping, however, I think might have had a slightly bigger moment, and you can see he's just lit it completely sideways. Gets followed by Chris Lashbrook. All of these guys fairly lucky honestly, to keep it out of the walls.
Sympathy off tracks. Yeah, they're saying, "Oh, I'm coming with you, mate." That's because once again, that's drivers are using a car as a racing line and not your own racing line. Look, there's a bumper.
That's Luke Newing going sideways, caught in a bit of an awkward spot there, but thankfully not a great deal of damage or anything. Liam Jensen appears to have got caught up in it in a big way again, and he gets punched into the wall there, so he's run into, looks like Lucas Baker from Southern Cross. And you can see, however, in amongst all of that, you've also got Josh Harris getting caught up in it, and he's had to go out and around. He's been spun.
I got tapped
straight across into his teammate.
Takes his team.
And then more contact in the background.
Oh, no.
That's Keith Logan in the Southern Cross Racing BMW. And you can see one of those Mercedes bumpers just bouncing on down the road. It's not been a great start for a bunch of drivers on the restart there. Hence we are back under safety car again, and I think we saw this last sprint round, I'm pretty sure as well, Biggles, where we just I don't know, the drivers just forget that their tyres are cold in race 2 because you're straight back into it so quickly, and yeah, you get restarts like this after a safety car where not only your tyres cold, but they haven't actually had a chance to come up to temp at all, and then they cool down further under the first safety car, and straight away people are out there pushing hard because they're in that racing line, just forgetting that they don't have the grip.
I think because they also know they don't have the laps too, so they want to get, overtakes done as quickly as possible because time's not on their side in short sprint races. At the same time too, as you mentioned, it is cold track temperatures. You've got those heavy winds out there as well. And another thing too, they might also take into consideration that to call a safety car, not just the fact that we had like about a bunch of cars off the track there and a bit of damage, is that there's also a ton of that kitty litter. You'll see it soon on that notorious turn. You'll see a ton of it. Now, unfortunately, you don't have marshals that come out in iRacing and sweep it all off the track.
Jeez, that'd be
the
nice,
only way to get it off the track is to drive over it and have all these cars, which we still have 20-something odd cars, about 30, give or take, to drive over it, and it does remove it off the track. So it is a good way to clean up the track, essentially, when the marshals just sit behind the safety barriers and do nothing. But that's...
Now, they don't do nothing.
I think iRacing should address that. I do think iRacing should address that, but somehow, they're not going to animate characters to come out there, are they? But
no, look, I get it though. It would be nice to see, and this is the tricky part when you're talking about manual safety cars, right? But it would be nice to see them implement a system, perhaps with the AI safety car, where calling a manual caution would actually get the debris cleaned off the track as well, perhaps.
That's true.
I don't know.
Yeah. They do have AI safety cars.
They do, it's possible. The only problem with them, of course, is that you're pretty much forced to do at least 3 laps, I think it is, under the manual safety car before it gets going again.
So here it is here. Here's the corner. You can see where it is. It's starting to be cleaned up already. It was a lot worse just on that lap prior to the safety car. I was having a look at it going, geez, that's going to be interesting. The bleed ventures out there, it'll be like on roller skates, but by cars driving over. I'm not quite sure race control does tell everybody over there to drive over it as well, under the safety car, to try to flick it all off the track. So that's probably not a bad idea to clean it up.
It's not the worst idea, is it? At all.
Yeah.
Scott Partine about to peel off in that safety car. So we'll see him leave the track shortly and control be handed back to Dean Power. Now watch carefully on this restart, folks. You will see the control line, and we'll give you a slightly better shot of it hopefully, but look for the checkered control line. That's actually where Dean Power should be making the jump. And watch very carefully Ryan Palmer in P12 on the timing tower. I reckon there's a fair chance you'll see him actually make a move pretty quickly.
Just don't get caught, mate, like Oscar did so many races ago there on your race restarts there, Dean. You should be fine, mate.
So watch for this checkered line. It's actually the first marshal box on the main straight. That's where Dean Power should be going. That's not there. It's just a little further up. It's just about to come to it here.
Oh, there's the marshal box. And you can see he's gone for it this time.
Yeah, so whether it was intentional, there's not much in it. There's not much in it, mind you. It's only about probably 30, 40 metres. The 100 might have been a slight exaggeration last time around, but there's definitely an opportunity to make a jump, as we see Ridley getting caught behind James Salhani, and now Danny P gets caught behind. Ridley takes advantage of it, and these guys straight back into battling. These tyres will be very, very cold. Keep your eye on the background,
James going off track today. He's going to get a massive pressure at the moment. That too from Danny P. He's going to go up the inside. No, he can't. He's held up there. He's got to tuck in behind. Look at this fantastic action. There's Carl putting pressure on. Reese Wakefield. Thomas is lurking in the background. These are all championship contenders here. They need crucial points. They can't afford to have a little bit of a tangle. Well, they can actually, per se, in a heat race, but we've got drivers that are going around too. And it looks like Ryan Palmer at the back there has gone off. Maybe Action Jackson, I call him as well. But are they slowing it down again?
I'm not seeing.
Yes. Yep. No, it's full speed.
I'm not seeing not seeing the safety carry out again just yet. Looks like some off tracks have sort of happened in the background, as we see Kyle Ridley very, very deep under brakes, almost straight into the back of Danny P there. He's caught in between the two OPR cars. James Salhani is slowing this pack down massively at the moment. He's obviously feeling very, very cautious on those very cold tyres. Dean Powell is just going
Dean's
for
not.
it. 2.6 seconds out in front. He's pushing hard, and the gap is really opening up. 35.1, the fastest. Darren Loftman goes off track further back in the field. So everyone just piling up here behind Salhani. You can see Ridley going very deep under brakes. That's allowing him to stay close to Danny P and really make it difficult for Reese Wakefield to think about a pass. Thomas Hinds is right there as well in P6. Vince Salvatore's had an issue further back in the field as well. So still more incidents happening right throughout the pack here. We'll go back, we'll take a quick look and see what's happened to Hayden Veld, Ryan Palmer and Jackson Austin. Represents replay. This is looking at Veld, and you can see Palmer's just overcooked him then.
Going to bounce back.
Collects Hayden Veld.
Oh, I knew that.
And unfortunately, that's just the nature of Zandvoort, isn't it? There's nowhere to go when it happens at high speed like that.
Yep, you bounce off the fence and come back onto the track, and that's just all she wrote. You just hope that there's no car there, and unfortunately there was, and clipped him.
And this is really interesting. Salhani's starting to just open the gap a little bit to Danny P. I wonder if Paul's just getting a little bit caught up in watching his mirrors with Kyle Ridley, because Ridley's doing an amazing job of sticking to his rear bumper and really putting some pressure on. You see a little tap of the brakes on the way out there. Danny's just not finding the grip yet, still not up to temp. As we see further back in the field, looks like Josh Harris and Keith Logan just swapping back and forth. Well, that could be, I think, Logan having a couple of connection issues back there, is my guess. Dean Powell, meanwhile, that gap's starting to come down now. He sets a 34.0, but Salhani a 33.3. So they're starting to really catch him now as the tyres come up to temp. So these drivers have been a bit more cautious. Liam Tipping a 33.303 back in 12th is the new fastest lap. And we see plenty going on. We'll check in a little bit further back, because there's a second pack that kind of runs from Thomas Hinds back here. He's just holding on the back of that front group. And it almost suggests that Reese Wakefield's struggling to stay with Kyle Ridley at the moment. It's starting to break up into pairings here. Tipping makes contact with Mitch Curry. I'm not sure who's done what there, but Curry's off the track, and Tipping continues on. Now, whether he's slowing there to try and redress that, looks like he might be, but he's going to have to wait a long way, because Mitch Curry is still in the kitty litter out there and waiting for an opportunity to get back onto the track. It's an awkward spot, and no grip to get rolling again once you do find a gap. Gets the foot down and starts to pull away as quickly as he possibly can. But that is going to be a long wait if Liam Tipping is indeed trying to redress that. This group continues though. Salhani, Poulton, Ridley, Wakefield and Hinds all line astern at the moment. Alex Seekers behind them picking up a slowdown will increase the gap.
Thomas should get the overtake on Alex, with that slowdown. You would imagine it's about 10 seconds, 11 seconds between them. Should get him on the backstretch, he will. You see him just in the background there at the moment. What can Alex do? He's going to have to go up massively defensively, but
that's all
is
he can do, right? Hug that inside, try and burn it off. He's still holding that slowdown. If he's not careful, that's going to turn into a black flag. He's going to have to burn a lot of time here, and you'll see him just back right off. There we go, finally cleared. He must have been getting so close to black flagging, because I've not seen too often drivers pull it up like that. They usually try and burn, a few tenths here and there rather than all at once.
Do you know what I saw a driver do the other day in a Daytona road course? He was leading by such a much of a race. He deliberately locked it up into the first turn and did a semi-spin just to get rid of the that yellow flag, and it worked, and he got rid of it, and he resumed on his way because it was slowed down enough.
Can you imagine having that sort of a lead? That'd be
That
nice.
sort of lead that
really runs wide. Reese
Yeah.
Wakefield's going to try and go around the outside here. Almost contacted. Thomas Hinz is going to take advantage. Looks up the inside, can't quite get the nose in there. You can see still a lot of debris on the outside of that corner, so not an opportunity for Ridley or indeed for Hinz to really make much of it. And you can see just ahead, one of the drivers, I think it might have been Salhani, just kicking up a bit of dirt there. Lucky not to find an off track, but that'll be even more kitty litter dragged onto the track here. And Danny P just doing everything he can to chase James Salhani. Salhani really starting to feel the pressure, I think.
Dean now gaps down to 8 tenths, so Dean's he needs those laps to kick off. Yep.
Salhani sets a 32.3, so that bit of clean air making all the difference for him at the moment. Danny P behind him though, 32.42, so he's pushing pretty hard as well. Cruz McVie back in 12th picks up the fastest lap. And this battle continues. We've got plenty going on. Dan Mirko now looking side by side down the front straight with Lucas Baker from Southern Cross. They're going to be under brakes here. Just a little bit of an overlap. It's going to be just enough to force Baker to stay wide, but he's got the grip to hold Mirko out wide. Mirko's going to find himself on the inside here, but Baker out in front. He's going to be able to close the door up as we come through this banked left-hander. And he's going to have to reset and try again. Dan Mirko almost getting it done there, but not quite. Now up front, Dean Power finally getting caught by this group. James Salhani's reeled him in. Danny P right behind. The question will be, can Salhani find a way past? We're a little over halfway through this second race. It's been a pretty eventful one so far, Biggles, but looks like we've finally found a bit of rhythm and these guys finding a bit of heat for the tyres.
That's what you want to see, yeah. I want to see this nice battle up the front there. Well, in the midfield as well, too, and down in 19th. But you want to see these battles. You don't want to see another caution car come out at the moment, safety car, just yet. I love safety cars to come out if they start spreading out too much, and then you want to re-rack and restack them. But in this case, we're getting some fantastic racing at the moment. We want to see them go for it. We're getting to see the raw pace of these drivers around this track. And once again, it seems to be track position is key, because if Dean can hold off James here for basically 6 or so laps, he'll be fine. I'm not quite sure he can. James now's got to think about worrying about Danny P behind him too. So we're kind of almost back to that restart situation after our second caution car. Very wide up into the ripple strip there from Dean as well. But there's just no overtaking opportunities. You got a little kink down here to the left as you run down the hill, then you go back up it. It's like a roller coaster ride here in the Netherlands. Then a fast sweeping right-hand corner, just no overtaking around here either. You'd be bold and brave. Just got to sit back, relax.
Even honestly.
Yeah, and just try to get this third sector almighty there and get right on the tailpipe. It's important for those final 2 turns really to get a good exit there, so you can try to attack them down in turn 1.
The interesting thing to note, Kyle Ridley behind Danny P there, the pink Lamborghini for those who aren't following deliveries just as closely yet. He's just set the fastest lap on the previous one, a 32.18, which says to me that Dean Power's already started to hold Salhani and Danny P up in second and third. And you can see immediately as we get through this lap, this has become a 6-way battle for first, really. The only question is going to be how many people can make the move past Dean Power at the end of the main straight. You've got to think James Salhani's going to give it a good crack here as he tries to line up a fast exit. Dan Mirko's just crashed in the background, so he's not having a great night at all back in 20th.
I think it might be now if he's tucked in behind. It's Mustang versus Mustang as well, but no, defensive was Dean. And that's the thing, even Stevens between those 2 cars up the front, so you can see where they've got the pace, you can see where they've got the acceleration. They're managing to hold off in the straight line speed there. A little lapsing in the cornering speed, but just not enough time for the overtakes there, so James is in the same situation that Dean is. More than anything, James might have to be very worried about Danny P in the background here. Danny P can use that Mercedes that seems to be a little bit more muddier through the cornering.
Yeah, absolutely does seem to be. although Salhani's found a decent bit of pace tonight. This battle going on further back, McVie, Coates and Ewing. Brad Coates very, very nearly getting through on Cruz McVie, but he's had to just pull back and reset a bit after losing too much pace through that left-hand bank turn. And we jump back up front because this battle still 6 ways, still nothing changed in terms of positioning, but Salhani right on Dean Power's tail.
Where's he going to go, but where's he going to go? Not here, but easy. We can get the exit of exits here. Remember, a sweeping corner. See, the thing is, he's lost the scrub a little bit of time there. It's actually put more pressure there from Danny P. That's going to get a nice slipstream. Has James fallen back just a little bit outside that slipstream from Dean? No, he might be enough. You can see that Danny has ran out of that slipstream a little bit. It's going to be a little bit too far back. You've got to be basically 1/10 out of the corner, out of the final corner, in order to get a good run. But once you stick your nose out, you're breaking that dirty air, and then all of a sudden it just feels like somebody's chucked an anchor out the back of your car.
Have a look at the braking though for Danny P. Just wide on it and close the gap up. Behind these guys is a bit of a swapperoo happening. Hinds and Wakefield going back and forth a little bit, and indeed Thomas Hinds getting past Reese Wakefield in the end. That was all under brakes into turn 1. We'll go back and take another look.
That's fantastic. Yeah, that's what we wanted to see in the first. That's what he wanted to see in the first race.
Gets it around the outside. A great move from Thomas Hinds. Manages to hold that line. Wakefield has the inside, regains it for just a moment, but then Hinds is too well positioned for that banked left.
Well, he'd been studying, hasn't he, Reese, for a good chunk of change for that for 16 or so laps prior to that one. So add another 10 or so laps onto that. I mean, he pretty much had studied the move there as James goes off into the track, off to the side a little bit, trying to get the power down. Fortunately, he was off into the ripple strips. That's going to cost him big time now. Going to be under pressure from Thomas and Reese very quickly. Dean's going to be, woof, just wipe the sweat off his brow there for a second because he's just brought himself about half a second. Danny P's now going to be on his tailpipe.
Yeah, it's not much relief, is it? You know, you got James Salhani all over you for the best part of probably 5 laps, and he makes a mistake and he's immediately replaced by Danny P.
Danny got a good exit too. Got a very good exit.
He really did, and I think he's going to look for a bit of an over-under here. You can see Thomas Hinds in the background looking for a move, can't quite find it, and neither can Danny P at the moment. So just proving how hard it is to get a pass done here on this track. See Dean Power doing all sorts of things to just frustrate Danny's progress, just blocking the road with that Mustang as best he can.
Mustang straight line speed is pretty good too when you get into these areas here. You can start to pull away a little bit.
Yeah, it's been really, really tough for anybody to really challenge Dean Power. Even though he's not setting the fastest laps, he's going just quick enough. He's making it very, very difficult for anyone to pass. And like we were saying earlier, Biggles, it's not a track that makes it easy at all to get a pass done.
You see where he's parking in the middle of the corners too. He's going off the apexes a little bit, so off the racing line, because he's putting it right in the middle. He's making that 93 car as wide as possible because he knows that it's just that you know, Danny's going to have to go somewhere, venturing off. Exactly what happened to James before. Venturing off the track a little bit, cost him too much time. Once again, Dean parking it right in the middle of the track and making sure that there's no way that Danny P's going to get around him. It's going to be how he's going to tackle these final couple of corners at the moment. Is once again, if Danny can get in without it, but you need to be about a 1/10 off the exit. You can't see that Mustang power out of the corner is just almighty, especially this section here. That's where it just doesn't allow enough. You can see the slipstream will now pull Danny P into him, but a 2/10 is not enough. You're going to have to send a dive bomb down into turn 1 if you want to try. Dean still comfortably, but controlling the lead of this race.
And he's only got 2 more laps that he needs to hold that position, so he can almost taste a win here. It'll be the first time in a while for Dean Power that he's won or even got on the podium here with MC, so he'll be absolutely throwing everything at it. It's really going to frustrate Danny, and Danny and Kyle have both got to make a decision here. Do they push hard, or do they stay content with 2nd and 3rd in the absence of any mistakes from the car in front? You know, they're pretty well positioned. It's going to be very, very hard for Salhani, for Hinds or for Wakefield to make any progress up onto the podium from here. If they can just hold a decent line, that's going to be all it takes. But you can see that Danny can absolutely see that he's got more pace than Dean Power. He just cannot get that car into a position to make a pass. Power's just sitting in the middle of the lane, absolutely everywhere. That's
that's
there's a
it. He's made
mistake,
a
and there it
mistake.
is. Oh, there's contact though, and that's going to put Danny P into the wall.
Dean's going to be absolutely frustrated. So obviously will Danny P.
And
Dean
just
be,
like that, Kyle Ridley on track to take the win. He's now got a lap to hold this. James Salhani has just been gifted P2, but Thomas Hinds is right there. We're about to start the final lap here, folks. That's going to be one for the stewards, I'm sure. But to me, it looks like a racing incident. Dean Power just pushing so hard for so long, just unfortunately ran out of tyres. Here we go, final lap. The white flag is out. Kyle Ridley now in the lead with 4/10. Thomas Hinds takes a big look up the inside. He's going to be looking to get past Salhani here if he can. Kyle Ridley just needs to hold on. Dips his tyre out into the gravel as they make their way through towards this left-hand bank. And Salhani will have Thomas Hinds all over him for the rest of this one. Reece Wakefield there in 4th. Thomas Cool up 11 positions into 5th. Behind him in the background, Alex Zegas, that white Mustang, up 12.
17.
Jared Burns, back in 7th. He's a long way back. We haven't even actually seen him here within QE of this front group, but he is he's up 17 positions. Chris Croat up 13 in 10th as well. Has had a great run as he moves up another spot into 9th. So you've got this three-way battle going on with the Mustangs back here as well. Let's not overlook that, because these three have been battling it out. You can see Dean Power trying everything he can to just regather a position or two just to make something of this race. He put in such a massive effort.
P10 for Dean, it's all about the P10 battle now. Get yourself on pole for the reverse grid, but Kyle, at the moment, well, he'll be saying, well, I'll be starting in P10, but he'll be like, well, I didn't think I was going to get this race win about 3 laps ago, but Kyle, you were in it to win it, my friend, as well as your teammate behind you, of James, so it's going to be looking good there for the SLM Motorsport team.
Sometimes all it takes is just hanging in there. Have a look at that front group come across the line, though. Nothing in it in the end. Ridley, Salhani, Hinds, Wakefield, Cool, Seekus, all coming home with an extra couple spots than they probably expected. Dean Power just missing out with Luke Ewing ahead, so he won't get back up to front. A couple of very damaged ADHD cars making their way across the line as well. We've still got a couple more battles yet to be decided, as you can see them coming up out of the final turn here. Salvatore just off the back of Lucas Baker, can't quite get there in the end, and Nathan Bowman, there's contact there. Lofton speared into the wall. Nathan Bowman will come on around and collect 20th. Darren Lofton is going to try and get rolling again, but Dan Mirko snuck through as well, so he'll take 21st. Darren Lofton with a fair bit of damage. You can see how much he's struggling to get that car moving again. Jackson Austin, though, way too far back and all on his own here in 23rd. Will be just about the last driver to cross the line. And that is race number 2. Tell you what, Biggles, that was almost Dean Power's race, but unfortunately in the end, I feel
for him.
It's
he's
just so
not
much
the only one that made
so
a
long.
mistake on that same corner as well too, because James did that earlier. A few drivers did. They're just pushing to get the exit speed there, because it's an important part of the track as well too. There's results that we'll see for our second race this evening.
So Kyle Ridley takes the win by just under a 10th over his teammate James Salhani. Thomas Hinds picks up 3rd place with Reece Wakefield and Thomas Cool behind them. Alex Zekas, out of nowhere, comes back into 6th. Jared Burns up into 7th as well. Then Cruz McVie, Chris Croat and Luke Newing round out your top 10. Dean Power and Brad Coates behind them with Danny P and Chris Lashbrook. Then Ian Ward and Keith Logan ahead of Josh Harris and Lucas Baker. Vince Salvatore and Nathan Bowman finishing out your top 20 in race number 2. We go further back through the field. Darren Lofton and Jackson Austin, the last of the drivers to finish on that lead lap. Ryan Palmer and Mitch Curry a lap down ahead of Liam Tipping and Brian East. Then Hayden Veld 10 laps down after that early damage really caused him some issues. Liam Jensen and Charlie Milliken, I don't believe, starting that race along with Jackson Starrett. So not quite the race that a few of those drivers are probably hoping for, I suspect, Biggles. It's some interesting ones in amongst all of that.
These are not the races you're looking for. Wave my hand. But, it's what happens. Races are races, like all season long. Yeah, you're going to get those 1 or 2 tracks that you're like, some drivers' favourites, some drivers not. The incidents, of course, where, it's not your fault, you're just driving, and then some cars hitting a barrier and they're coming back in there and the tag, and all of a sudden you're out into the kitty litter. That's just racing, tends to happen. But I'd have to say overall, I think a lot of these drivers have been enjoying that, especially this really close battling, because it's not easy to overtake, as you saw. You really have to earn it. You really have to work it. There's a lot of mental games and pressure that goes on with these drivers. They're looking in their mirrors. They're trying to hold off defensively driving. People trying to attack you from behind. At the same time, you're trying to put in your fastest exits so that you can defend themselves against that. It's a lot of play. Even though this is only sprint races, essentially, with 3 of them, it's still as exhausting as an endurance race.
Yeah, absolutely is. Hey, let's take a moment and see if we can just get into to Josh Harris's here. Josh, are you with us by any chance?
Hello, mate. How are you?
Mate, doing well. We were just enjoying taking a look at your fancy little belt setup there a little earlier in the coverage, and we thought we'd check on in with you and get a bit of a rundown on how you think it's working at the moment.
There's the camera. There we are.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. It's so I've got a belt tensioner on now. I've had the belts on for a couple of weeks, which is kind of fun. And then recently I got a cubic belt tensioner system. So just increasing that little bit of immersion, and it was, to be honest, I thought that it was a bit of fun, a bit of a gimmick, but I realised very quickly that I probably can't race without it now. It gives me so much information and feedback about what the car's doing, so it's kind of cool. It's expensive and a little bit silly, but it is a lot of fun.
Yeah. Explain to Josh out there. Explain to us noobs or people don't understand that are watching.
Yep. Like Biggles, basically.
How does it work? Yeah, has it plugged in? Connects to iRacing, maybe connects to other sims as well. How does that, and then what does it do specifically?
Yeah, so obviously I've got the belt over each shoulder, and they go down the back of the seat, and then it's quite literally a big clamp on the back of this harness. And anything that the car does, it feeds information to each belt. So when I turn, one belt gets tighter. When I brake, both belts pull. And the idea is it's trying as best as it can to simulate G-forces, which is the one thing in sim racing that you can't simulate.
And have you had an accident with that as well, too?
Yeah. Did you watch the race?
We did actually see you. Yeah. So a hard lick into the fence, and you're going to be like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, no, it does. It does. It pulls really quite tight when you have an accident. So yeah, it's a bit of fun, and I'm lucky. Those who are in the Discord, I've put a couple of photos of my sim up. I'm pretty lucky. I've got a reasonably nice sim, and this is probably the last little bit to add to it, and hopefully I don't have to feel those additional G-forces in the next race of a big crash, because you had a couple of beauties in that one.
So it has those Josh Harris thumbs of approval there.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thanks for the update, Josh. We'll let you get back into it. We're just about to get underway, of course, for race 3. Fingers crossed, mate, and best of luck for this one, hey?
Absolutely, guys. Thank you very much. I hope everyone's having fun and enjoying watching.
I've got to apologise to Josh. We've just had him drop back to ADHD a little bit too quickly there. But all the same,
enjoyed. Yeah, exactly. Everybody has a good race and enjoy himself. Always, Josh is always here to be serious, obviously, because you don't spend that sort of coin there on iRacing, and for any sort of racing sim that you're not. But he's also always got a smile on his face. He's always here to have fun. That's the two elements you need to have a good race, my friend.
Absolutely. As we take a look at the grid for race number 3, 17 laps left here tonight in round 7 at Zandvoort for the French Car Care GT3 Championship with MC Motorsport. Luke Newing and Chris Croat will have the pole row. Cruz McPhee and Jared Bohans behind them. Then Alex Zekas and Thomas Cool ahead of Reese Wakefield and Thomas Hins, James Selhani and Kyle Ridley sent to the back of the front 10. The rest of the field will line up as they finish. So Dean Powell and Brad Coates ahead of Danny P and Chris Lashbrook. Then Ian Ward and Keith Logan with Josh Harris and Lucas Baker behind them, and then Vince Salvatore and Nathan Bowman rounding out your top 20, Dan Mirko and Darren Lofton on row 11. Then Jackson Austin and Ryan Palmer with Mitch Curry and Liam Tipping behind them. Ryan East and Hayden Veld ahead of Liam Jensen. Scott Bartine will be sitting back at the back of the grid. Charlie Milliken and Jackson Starrett not starting in race 2, so not sure we'll see them in race 3, but we'll keep an eye on the grid and see if they do pop up. Nathan Allen not getting a chance to drive the safety car yet, but you never know. There's still time, Biggles. We've got 17 laps ahead of us. And as we've seen, just about anything can happen here at Zandvoort.
Yeah, we always got to appreciate all those that from race control that get in there and commit themselves. They're not racing. They're got to sit there and they got to listen to all the drivers chat and everything like that that's going on there. And they get if they get a chance to get out there and do a couple of laps in the safety car, we do appreciate them doing that, of course. And we got to keep our cars clean and all that sort of stuff too. There, Jared, and I know if you want to get your car clean and stuff like that, the French Car Care, of course, here in our neck of the woods, can do all that fine detailing for you.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, honestly, the best part of it, of course, is them finding all of the obscure parts that can be a little bit difficult to track down here in Brisbane, but they do an amazing job of leveraging their network of parts dealers around the world and can look after a whole range of cars, not just French cars, but it is certainly their specialty. So, as I've said before, speaking from experience, they do a great job of your Peugeots, your Citroens, and everything else. Just a little bit quirky on our Brisbane streets. It's good to know that they're in safe hands, and Brisbane's French Car Care is the way to go. Let's go down to the track as we have our drivers getting onto the grid now for race number 3. This will be an interesting start, Biggles. Newing and Croat at the front here, they're going to really want a good jump because they have a host of very, very fast drivers just waiting for them on the way into turn 1.
And they had a few little moments of track excursions and stuff like that as well. So just waiting for Keith Logan for the Southern Cross Racing driver. He's needing to reload that BMW in there on P16th there, and I think that might be it for our grid.
Yeah, it does look like we're not going to see Charlie Millican and Jackson Starrett here in race 3. So just the one driver we're waiting on now. We're about to get the green flag at the back of this field. As always, a great turnout here tonight. 29 drivers taking the grid for race number 3. Keith Logan not getting on there, so he may start from the pits. We are under starters orders now. The lights come up, and we are racing in race number 3. 17 laps ahead, a big spin of the wheels for Chris Croat, and that's going to put him under all sorts of pressure on the way down to turn 1 as we get on through, hopefully in better shape than we have. And already Dean Powers around. He's slid off to the left-hand side, and he'll be dropping down through the pack. Hayden Veld gets caught up in it as well by the look of things. He is all the way down towards the back of the field in 27th, so having an absolute shocker. And we see Thomas Hinds getting a bit of a touch up there from Kyle Ridley, just nose to tail, so hopefully not too much damage. Luke Newing just enjoying a massive gap out in front at the moment. It does look like a fair bit of damage on one of those cars coming through there, missing a front bar. Thomas Hinds has left it behind somewhere on the track, so that's going to be a little bit awkward for him as we try and get these tyres up to temp. It does look like, though, and I don't want to speak too soon, but it looks like we might survive this section a little better than we did in race number 2, as Kyle Ridley looks for a move in the background on Alex Zekas. The drivers starting to find their pace here. Newing and Burns, though, right out in front. Reese Wakefield finally getting past Chris Croat, and he's going to start to really try and trace those front 2 down. Still 16 laps to go after this, though, so he doesn't want to push too hard on these cold tyres. Chris Croat gets absolutely monstered by the duo from Koala Cartel. Cruz McVie goes through. Thomas Cooldo really struggling, actually has a bit of a moment and has to drop back in behind the damaged Thomas Hinds. And we come back around through this fast right banker, and we will be back onto the main straight, ready for lap number 2.
Yeah, so far so good, actually. Just a couple of off-track excursions, but you'd have to say pretty good. James is going to put a bit of pressure there on Thomas Cool on the inside, but he doesn't really. We've seen that before. Those dummies don't work. Brad Coates is dropping a couple of places. He's pulled off, actually, to the side of the road. He's into the kitty litter there, but he's trying to keep it straight as a few people go past Brad Coates. But back up to that one. I don't quite think it's massive, that damage in Thomas. I can't see just yet how much is hindering him.
Yeah, I mean, he's missing the front bar, so it'll be affecting a bit of downforce, but it shouldn't be too bad as long as everything else is relatively straight.
Not in a sprint race to fix that, so he's just got to deal with it.
No, he'll just push through at this point. He doesn't want to lose the time in the pits unless he gets a safety car, in which he can maybe consider it, but he will absolutely just push on at this point. Quite a bit of close racing in the back end of this field, because you've ended up with quite a few very quick drivers back here. We're looking at Hayden Veld at the moment, who's caught up, as we see a big moment for Dan Mirko. He ends up facing the wrong way, thankfully avoids a contact with the wall. But Mitch Curry, Hayden Veld, Liam Jensen, Liam Tipping back here for Koala Cartel as well. So there's going to be a lot of drivers who are going to have to try and find a way through the pack at this circuit, which we've already seen across the first 2 races, Biggles. It's very, very hard to do.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Ryan Palmer's managed to find his way up 10 places at the moment. And now, Chris, further up in the field there, looks like Thomas Hens is going to make an overtake there on Chris Crowe. So that's something that's unusual there. We've had Wounded Beast there at the moment, but don't tell him. Chris just blinked out there for a second too. It's always going to be a little bit frustrating. And Thomas Cool in the background there. James has been flying up back through the field as well. 2 is up 1. And we'll see how that pans out. But Luke in the lead, my friend.
And 2 seconds out
2 seconds or so.
Reese Wakefield, just keep an eye on him though. He'll start to reel that in, I'm sure. Let's go back and take a look. I think Dean Powell was perhaps, you see him on the outside there, perhaps a little unlucky. A little bit of a nudge from Salhani. Now, the question is, what happened to Hayden Veld? Just, just the rejoin from Power has held him up. Okay, I was a little worried that Power had actually slid into Hayden Veld there, but hadn't seen any damage. So, thankfully, the only damage to Hayden Veld is time on track, and he'll have to work his way back through the field, of course, but better than carrying a wounded car through it, as we see Jackson Austin and Josh Harris going at it. Nathan Bowman in the background. These guys battling it out for 14th, and Harris gets the pass done comfortably in the end. Bowman thought about going for it as well. Decides to slot back in behind for the moment. And behind them, Dean Powell has Liam Tipping and Liam Jensen just knocking on the rear bar and asking for a bit of a way through. The 2 Koala Cartel cars. Well, big moment there for Ben Salvatore as he cuts a big chunk out of the inside of that corner. That's going to give him a massive slowdown. He's going to have to burn off here. So he's got 5 cars close behind that are going to want to get through there. Alex Zekas has dropped well down the pack, Jason, and we'll see if we can pick up exactly what's happened for him. I don't know that there was anything
He's gone to pit road.
From the apart from the off track back on lap number 3. Let's go and take a look and see if he's actually made contact. The iRacing Designs replay will show us here, and into the back of Salhani. I'm not sure what happened to James Salhani there. Just pulled up.
A huge lift, almost a break at that point, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. So that sent Alex Zekas off track, and unfortunately waiting to get back on, and then further on through that same lap, he's carrying a lot of damage. You can see that front right all out of alignment, and so struggling to just keep it on track. In the end, parking it up and actually asking for the tow back to pits there. Unable to get the right-hand turn done. So that will be Alex Zekas sitting off to the side. Not sure that he's got a fast repair.
Oh, Chris has gone around. Well, there's a bit of an accident. Chris, I'm seeing it might have been Danny P. or Dean.
Contact there. Mitch Curry straight into the front end of Chris Crowe.
Mitch Curry as well.
Which spins Crowe around. He'll be thankful for that, but you can see there's a huge amount of damage on the car. He's trying to hold it straight, but that front end is absolutely cactus.
Starting with Chris Crowe as well, somewhere along the line there, because he's dropped all the way back to P26 as well too. So
have a look at the crab walk going on here.
Yeah.
Wow, that is a massively misaligned front
forgot
left.
to take the windscreen wipers that jammed in, that I took off my bonnet one time. And they jammed in the steering column when I was on the freeway, and I couldn't turn left. And I was like,
straight into the side there. So I think Chris Crowe was fine right up until this moment here, when Mitch Curry comes through the corner and just comes around like Vince Salvatore and one other car. Couldn't see Crowe until the last second, and unfortunately, damage to both cars there.
Black flag for Vince as well too. Salvatore in P16, he's going to have to go down there and serve that one, so there's going to be a happy camper about that, but that's the situation as it is.
And in amongst all of that, it looks like Hayden Veld might have had a bit of a moment as well. Take a look on the iRacing Designs replay up the inside of Brian East here, just overcooks it, and so close. But Keith Logan, doing a great job to stay out of the way in the Southern Cross Racing BMW, so Veld just not able to keep the tyres under him at the moment. He finds himself all the way down in P25, so this is going to have a massive impact on his championship contention. Ryan Palmer and Ian Ward, the 2 teammates, almost coming together there, and you can see another ADHD car in the background. That's Josh Harris behind Jackson Austin. So the three Mercedes in the pink and blue colours are all starting to find each other on track. That black flag for Salvatore.
Reese Wakefield and Jared Burns too, up in the P2. It's on the inside there of Reese. If anything, Jared Burns might be under pressure there from Cruz McVeil as well. So overtaking opportunities into turn one. There it is, side by side. And in the background, can Jared hold on? I don't think he can. Cruz will get the exit speed on that one. So Jared Burns back down to P4, where he essentially started this race as well too. But Luke's up the road by almost 5 seconds. He's going to be happy with that. That's the advantage, really, in this reverse top 10 grid here of getting yourself in that P10 position, which turns you into pole. You can just scoot up the road there and say bye-bye to everybody else. Now, with only 12 laps remaining, as long as he can keep some good lap times in there, it's going to be hard for the likes of Reese Wakefield to catch up to him.
Watch very closely Vince Salvatore here. If he doesn't come in this lap, I reckon he's going to fall victim to what we've already seen a few times this season across a few leagues. People not, with the new user interface for iRacing, not actually seeing that they've been issued a black flag and ending up going past the 3-lap limit.
Oh, is that what happens, is it?
Yeah, it's with the new UI, it's a little less obvious as we see.
Yeah.
Oh, big contact there for Lofton in the background. So just lost it a little on his own through the corner, but then a bit of a helping hand, unfortunately. And Darren Lofton will drop back through the field further. Jump up front, Thomas Kuhl, who's under a bit of pressure from James Salhani as he tries to stick with Danny P down the main straight. Salhani's going to have a look up the inside here. Kuhl's not going to be close enough to have a go at Danny P, but I think Salhani's going to have a big think about it. Doesn't actually pull out of line, so he's decided to play it safe. And look, probably not a bad idea considering some of the chaos we've seen so far. I think unless you've got a really, really obvious passing opportunity, you do just want to, I suppose, ride it out a bit. Now, Salvatore hasn't come in to serve that black flag.
No, he hasn't. Oh, another black flag for Brad Coates as well. So that's, oof.
But
a couple of boys on the headmaster's naughty list at the moment.
Keep an eye on both of these guys as Coates goes up the inside looking for a pass on Jensen. He might find himself too caught up in this battle and not actually realise as well. I'm tipping now we're going to see Salvatore disqualified in about 2 laps' time. And it won't be...
I think somebody should get it, race control, somebody get on the horn there in the voice chat there and say, mate, you've got to do something about that, otherwise you're going to be DQ'd.
Well, this is the thing, right? It's an iRacing applied black flag. Yes. So it'll be for accumulation of incidents. Now, if you are running, crew chief or digital race engineer, they'll be giving you voice guidance to actually go in and serve that penalty. But if you miss that call and you don't see the black flag on that new UI, you'll keep pushing on, and then all of a sudden you'll cross that control line and be given your disqualification. I mean, you've got 3 laps to see it. It's on the driver to be aware of the flags that are being shown at the end of the day. So, I don't know. I don't think it sits with race control to follow it up, really, does it?
No. It doesn't. It's up to your spotter and stuff like that, exactly as you said. Luke just has the fastest lap at the moment, so it's a 5-second gap over Reese Wakefield. So you thought that Reese Wakefield would start hunting him down. That's a no-go with Luke leading this race there in the Mustang. Mustang's been strong once again. We've seen that again in this situation. So Reese is under more pressure from Cruz McVeil.
Who was that facing backwards off the side of the track that they just went past? Was that Mitch Curry?
Mitch Curry, was it? I think it was Mitch Curry. It was.
Replay. No, Mitch Curry is completely on his own at the moment. I think it might have actually been Darren Lofton just out of the pits. And sure enough, just gets it crossed up and up and over that bump and ends up against the wall, and he's just going to be sitting there and waiting it out. It's a really rough spot to end up facing the wrong way.
They all had that black flag looming. Brad's was newer than Vince's, but let's see if that gets cleared. He's going to have to go down to pit road, I don't imagine, set that drive-through.
Well, here's Vince Salvatore now, so let's see if he does come in.
Baker's going around too. Lucas has gone off track somewhere. Unfortunately, Lucas Baker's not having a great time here in the Netherlands. He needs some, what's it? I can't remember that fancy treat. I lived in friggin' Amsterdam for about a year. It's a bitterballen. He doesn't like his bitterballens. There it is.
Mate, you're like bringing back all sorts of memories. They're delicious.
There you go. Yeah, you know it.
Absolutely. Now, let's see if Salvatore comes in here, because I reckon he'll be getting close to running out of time on serving this one. Uses all of the track there. Are we going to see him actually come? No, he's going to continue. Are we about to see him handed? There it is. There's a disqualification for Salvatore.
Oh,
so in just a moment, he will be removed from the track. Salvatore picks up, unfortunately, a disqualification there. Brad Coates has seen his. He's into pit lane to serve it.
And James might pick up a position on Thomas. No, he does. He's so close behind him. It's insane how he's been putting the pressure at the moment there, but Thomas cool. Is keeping his cool. Stay cool, Daddy-O, says Thomas to James Sahani. And as Luke is staying cool to the rest of the field, although Reese did take a second out of Luke Newing in the last lap alone. So he knows to get the call up, 9 laps to go.
And Luke Newing really has plenty of time. He doesn't have to push super hard at this point. He'll want to try and hold as much of that gap to Wakefield as he can, but he does have a little bit of breathing room, given that we're about halfway through this race. 4 seconds, probably not as much breathing room as I'd be comfortable with ahead of someone like Reese Wakefield, but it's a start for sure. Newing sets the fastest lap, so he's not hanging around. 31.888, a 31.844. So Wakefield only managing to take 0.05 out of Newing on that lap. He's absolutely pushing on. Luke Newing can taste this victory already.
It goes to show you clean air is king around here, isn't it? Absolutely. We've seen that from the reverse grids. The drivers that are out there in P1 have been able to hold on to that P1 for quite some time. When you get down to about 4 or 5 laps to go in this race, that's when the rest of the charges start coming up to your tailpipe. But, you know, all hats off to Luke here for the Kiwi dominating the rest of the Aussies.
Still hanging in out there, isn't he? Still 4.5 seconds over Reese Wakefield. So, well, this is just not a track that suits Wakefield as well, or indeed one that Newing's got some extra pace that he just hasn't had the opportunity to exhibit through the first couple of races. He's making the most of it right now as he extends that out to 4.6 seconds. So Newing just in an absolutely controlling position. He's just going to have to be very, very careful that he doesn't overstep it himself, as Jackson Austin almost oversteps the rear end of that Ferrari, and indeed he has. He's pushing just that little bit too hard and ends up spun around. He'll get moving again with a bit of a gap back to Dean Power. Brad Coates is back out having cleared that black flag. And Austin now a bit of a gap to Dean Power, but just overcooking it. And it goes to show Newing sets another fastest lap, and this time a good 0.3 quicker than Reese Wakefield. So Luke Newing absolutely making the most of this.
He just brought himself another I'd say about another 2 laps at the end of the day, as Ryan Palmer goes side by side there with Kyle Ridley up the inside there for the ADHD machine. Does get the job done. Ryan Palmer, 15 places up in this race. Don't tell Ryan that one, but he's on a rampage. But unfortunately, as quick as he is, there. 7 laps to go.
Jensen and Dean Power come together. Looks like no damage done, thankfully, and Power redresses that immediately, so Liam Jensen will continue. Very, very close there, but thankfully, nothing much in it in the end. This is about the closest battle on track right now. Danny P under all sorts of pressure from Thomas Cool, James Salhani with him as well, and while these guys battle it out, Ryan Palmer and Kyle Ridley have been steadily getting closer and closer in the background. So keep an eye on it. We may have a 5-way battle for 6th very, very soon.
I think we will.
And we've just had an issue for Newing as well. Sorry to cut you off, Biggles, but he's dropped down to 3 seconds now. So I think he's had a big moment in there somewhere. It looks like he's stayed on track, but it's certainly just bled off a good couple of seconds, which is not what he'll want to see at the moment. It doesn't look like there's been any massive issues though. Jackson Austin, unfortunately, having all sorts of issues. The RF Science replay picking this up, just overcooks it, tries to drift it, and it was going to be very impressive if he'd held it, but unfortunately, these cars not quite set up to hold those long smoking drifts. And he finds himself off to the side. James Salhani now looking up the inside of Thomas Cool. He's going to get alongside, heavy under brakes. Can he hold it? Cool's going to be on the right side of things for the next turn. James Salhani's going to have to pull something out of the hat, and he can't quite make it stick. He'll drop back in, but the challenges continue. Ryan Palmer, meanwhile, is now within a second of Salhani, so this is starting to close up very, very quickly. We said that Newing had lost a bunch of time. He has, but he's also still managed to pick up some more time already this lap to extend that lead back out a little.
Well, the advantage as well too is he has a lap car in between as well. So I'm not quite sure if that happened to I think it was Chris or Mitch somewhere along the line there at the moment is going to get past as Reese gets past that lap car at the moment. So that's the situation. So Luke is still going to got that 3-something second gap. But exactly, you're going back to that hot zone where you throw the blanket over at the moment. Danny P, Thomas Kuhl, James Sahani, Ryan Palmer, Kyle Ridley. They're going to be ones to keep your eyes on because they're slicing through, especially Ryan Palmer slicing through the field there. Up 15 at the moment. He's going to be on the tailpipe very quickly there of James Sahani, who's on the tailpipe of Thomas Kuhl, trying to get past Thomas Kuhl. Thomas Kuhl is trying to get past Danny P. And then you got a bit of a
have a look at that.
Response. Yeah, he just sets
one bad lap and goes,
points.
no, I'll just drop the fastest lap even further. 31.78.
Yeah, that's what he said.
That's the Australian translation for any of our international viewers. James Alani has another look up the inside of Thomas Kuhl. This time, contact. Thomas Kuhl ends up pushed to the side of the track.
He can't readdress it either because he's got too much battling around him. So interesting if it was a my bad situation or not. But keep an eye on Ryan Palmer on the back there of James now. He's going to try to capitalise on that moment.
Absolutely.
James can't afford to. You know the drivers do like to say, okay, if I do accidentally get in contact with somebody, I'll slow down and let you through. But he can't with this amount of action around him at the moment. Might have to suck it up, buttercup the penalties later.
Yeah, and look, he may think that he doesn't have anything for there, and he'll just leave it to the stewards to figure out. Right? Sometimes you just got to let fate decide in a lot of ways. This one going on a bit further back as well. Harris is under huge pressure from Bowman and tipping.
Oh, you spin the background. Carl Ridley goes around.
Well, Ridley's gone off track, a little bit of damage to the front end, and just as we were watching Harris Bowman tipping, they've come through. Ridley spinned immediately on rejoining, so he's really overcooked the tyres on the Lamborghini. He's going to have to slow it right down. And then we've got side-by-side action with Ryan Palmer and James up on the inside too. Palmer goes through.
Take 17 places up, Ryan says. Thank you very much.
He's still got a bit of work to do there to get up towards the front of the field, but you can't argue with 7th. Vince drops into the chat there and had no idea of the black flag. Yeah, we've seen it happen a few times, unfortunately.
We're talking about that, mate. Yeah.
Yeah,
need your spotter on the radio.
It seems to be.
Fire your engineer.
Seems to be a bit of the new iRacing UI just making it really, really difficult for drivers to see that. And you're certainly not the first one that we've seen cop a black flag and not serve it and then get disqualified. We've seen it happen. I reckon I could probably count 4 or 5 more times in the last few rounds that I've seen that happen to someone. Best advice I can give to any iRacing driver is to get your UI set up so that flag icon is right smack bang in the middle of your view.
Or a stream deck as well. Any of those little plugins, like the stream decks, I believe you can get little indicators, because I've got my stream deck here. It tells me how many laps to go and stuff like that. It tells me caution flags. I mean, that's something, of course, but it's also an investment.
Lucas Baker checking in as well. Crazy race, good fun though, mate. Glad you had fun, even if it hasn't gone quite the way.
Have a look at Josh Harris and Norman Bowman down there at 11th and 12th as well, too, which gets your pictures on. That's also happening. Lynn tipping in the background there. For the Koala Cartel. Hey, the Koala Cartel, I'm coming here.
You cannot miss those cars out on track. There's just so many of them, as are the ADHD cars. It'd be interesting to have a bit of a team battle go on there at some point. But anyhow, the gap out in front, Luke Newing sets another fastest lap at 1:31.76 contact. Or has he just overcooked it? Maybe a little bit of a nudge, but Josh Harris goes through.
There was contact. Yeah,
Luke Newing has just gone a full half second quicker than Reese Wakefield. So Newing has absolutely found his rhythm this race. Just a couple of laps to go. If he can keep it straight, he will absolutely walk away with this one. The only question will be who joins him on the podium. Reese Wakefield and Cruz McVeigh looking pretty well on track. The front group well spread out, save for this little bunch here. Danny P has Ryan Palmer still trying to just reel him in the background, but not quite able to at the moment outside of the slipstream, so Palmer's going to have to work pretty hard, and James Delhani still trying to catch on to the back of Ryan Palmer. There shouldn't be a lot of difference between the setups, you'd think, between Danny and Ryan here, both running the same car, so you would think reasonably well aligned in terms of how they've set them up. So it'll really be down to the driver at this point. No pressure, boys, but we'll be deciding who the better driver is between Danny P and Ryan Palmer here, as far as I'm concerned. Whether they...
ninth in the championship, Danny P 4th in the championship, so that's something to consider.
Yeah, look, over time that's
drivers.
probably had something to do with it as well. But Ryan Palmer up 17 spots so far this race, has absolutely moved through the field. We've got a lot of drivers who are either out or have been set back massively by some of those early incidents this time around though. Mitch Curry is out, Jackson Austin out, Lucas Baker as well, though Jackson Austin is on his way out of the pits now. Mitch Curry still in the pits at the moment.
Doesn't the boss man get a free a free fast repair being the boss and putting on this fantastic MC Motorsport?
Mate, the great thing about him, Mitch Curry gives a free fast repair to everybody. He just likes to share it around. Unfortunately, once you use that one up, it does tend to take a bit longer. And Lucas Baker checking into the chat before, I suspect, feeling the full effects of some of the damage tonight. We see Keith Logan, just a couple little blinks there behind Dean Powell. These guys will continue to battle it out for 17th, but really our attention has been focused on this one, the battle for 6th. Danny P is just bleeding time ever so slowly to Ryan Palmer with only 2 laps left, or really 1.5 laps left at the moment. The question is, can Palmer touch him and can he make a move in what little time they have? They're about to come really towards the final turns.
Yeah, I got a feeling Ryan can. Ryan's been absolutely just rampaging this last race. He's got a very good exit here as well. He's right on the tailpipe. He's got to swing this over to the right in a second. You can see we're looking at Danny P down there on the back of a charging Ryan Palmer. Look how close Ryan Palmer is. You've got to be that close. You have to be that close. You've got two sweeping right-handers coming up at the moment, and you want to be within 1/10 really in order to send a dive bomb down at turn 1. That's just a dive bomb being aka an overtake here. And he's pretty close here, 2/10 off. You get that slipstream in
as well. Here he
Where
comes.
is Danny P going to park the car? That's going to be interesting. Is Danny P going to go defensive or stay on the racing line?
I don't think Palmer's got quite enough pace there, and you see him just closing behind. He's going to save this for a last corner run. I think we should probably check in. Luke Newing out in front, give him his dues. He's had very little screen time in this race because he's been so far out in front. He's extended it all the way out to 4.5. Reese Wakefield, meanwhile, in second place. We heard from him last week about his matured approach to the overall championship, and I think this is evidence of it. He knows that he's going to have to push way too hard to try and catch Luke Newing, and so he's quite content to just carry on at a fairly safe pace and really just lock away that second place on the...
points, mate.
Well, yeah, exactly right. There's not a lot of points between first and second, and it's not worth the extra risk. Right here, though, Ryan Palmer doesn't believe in risk management. He's going to send it up the inside of Danny P. They're side by side. Pushes him all the way to the outside, and I think Palmer's going to have the drive out of the corner, so he jumps up into 6th. Can he hold it? A little bit of a nudge there from Danny P as they try.
Swing into a right here, and I think that Danny knows it. Got a lot of the space. Going to compromise, of course, Ryan Palmer's entry and exit, but I think he got it. Ryan has got it.
He did. Luke Newing's come across the line. At fastest lap, 31.599 to finish it off. As we come through the final couple of corners, Reese Wakefield will take second. Cruz McVie takes an easy third ahead of Burns, Hins. But here comes Ryan Palmer as we make our way to the finish line, all the way to the death, and Ryan Palmer holds in there. Danny P pushes him across the line effectively, 800th in it in the end. James Salhani comes home in 8th, just off to the side, probably just shaking his head at the madness that's just unfolded in front of him. Liam Tipping is just about to come out of the final corner as well, and in fact has finished just behind Josh Harris. And I think Luke Newing just enjoying life there, has really just cruised home in the end. Cruz McVie takes third. Reese Wakefield already has put it into the pits. He's done for the night. He's done what he needed to do to secure some really top points for him in this championship, as Dan Mirko will be the last driver to cross the line. Let's take a look at the results for race number 3 here tonight, and it looks a little something like this. Luke Newing, a commanding lead all the way through, takes home the win in race 3 ahead of Reese Wakefield and Cruz McVie. Jared Burns and Thomas Hins behind them. Ryan Palmer getting home just barely ahead and Danny P, unfortunately, having to settle for 7th. James Silhani and Thomas Cool behind them, then Chris Lashbrook sneaking into the top 10 as well. We'll just wait a moment and see if we can get Cruz McVie into the comms booth. While we're waiting, though, we might jump on in and have a quick chat to P2 Reese Wakefield. Reese, are you with us?
Bonjour.
Bonjour. That's not Dutch.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you say hello in Dutch? Let me Google real quick.
It's been a moment, but I can tell you it involves a lot of really guttural, like you're hooking up phlegm. It's basically a trademark of the Dutch language, mate. So yeah, we won't push it. We won't push you too hard on it. But mate, that was a definitely a way to finish race number 3 there. It looks to me like we're seeing a little bit more of your mature approach to locking away those championship points and not pushing quite as hard as maybe you would otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. Look, Hayden had a very rough round here tonight.
Understatement of the year, yep.
My goal was to just keep it straight, keep it clean, finish all 3 races, and that's what I did. So I'm very happy about that. You know, as an old friend, Mr. Jeremy Washington once said, just constant P5s wins you championships.
Constant P5s. Look, I mean, it's all about the points at the end of the day, and this round certainly locking away some decent ones for you. How did you find Zandvoort as a track? I'll say from my perspective, it looked like it was always going to be a really, really tough one to get it done tonight, and I think it probably felt that way for most of the drivers out there as well.
Yeah, so look, from a single car on track, it's great. It's a real flowy track to drive. It's like super high speed and all the banked corners. From a broadcast perspective, I bet you it looked phenomenal. The racing was great. From a 30-something car grid on standing starts, horrible. Absolutely horrible.
A little frustrating, I'm hearing, Reese.
Look, not so much frustrating. Look, I know what I'm capable of, and I showed that off my starts. So, but I think it caught a lot of drivers out on cold tires, especially in a race setting. Like in a practice setting, you have like a couple laps to get the tires up to temp, but in a race setting, you got to kind of be on it so you don't lose positions from the get-go. So I think that's where we saw a couple people spin and crash out.
Well, mates, you'll be happy to know we're taking a look at the championship points right now, and your hold on P1 seems to have solidified quite a bit. Obviously, drop rounds to be taken into account, but it's setting up nicely. 3 rounds left to go after Zandvoort. Of what we've got left, Silverstone next week, then Bathurst and Suzuka. Any of those likely to cause you any issues, or are you feeling pretty comfortable with what's left to go here?
No, that they should be fine. I've done a fair amount of laps at all 3 of those tracks, and like I said to Danny, it was just these 3 middle rounds, these 3 tight, twisty rounds that we had to get through, and we should be pretty okay for the next 3 rounds, considering they're very high speed, like real more Mercedes suited per se.
All right, well, mate, no pressure, but we're expecting some big things out of you for the next 3 rounds, then, hey?
Look, don't throw the wobbly on me with 3 rounds to go, please.
Look, you've got a fair lead starting to stack up, mate. It's been a big season so far. 3 rounds left. Look, fingers crossed for you, mate. Congratulations on some solid results tonight and some good points coming your way.
Thank you all.
Anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Every week, as per usual, my team. One Performance Racing wouldn't be this quick if it wasn't for them. You boys for putting on a lovely broadcast every week, and to everyone that comes out to watch us race these pixelated cars every Monday.
Hey, I take objection to them being pixelated.
Yeah,
they
he
look
does in high
beautiful on here.
definition. Yeah, they're not pixelated, man.
Reece, thanks. That's
well,
always,
we're
mate.
looking at 2 different screens then.
That's fair.
He gets copyright strikes because they say it's too real for the original stuff.
Reece, well done tonight, mate. Congrats on some more points and 3 rounds to go. That championship getting very, very close indeed.
Cool. Thanks, boys. Hope to see you next week.
Reece Wakefield there taking out a good haul of points for this round here at Zandvoort. We'll take a moment to chat to also Thomas Hinds, who's had a pretty good night as well. Tom, are you with us?
Yes, I am, yes.
Mate, how was that from your perspective? Looked like a pretty rough night all around.
No, I mean, the first 2 races were good. It was a good battle with Reese in the first race. I wasn't able to get him, but had a lot of fun trying to...
Have I just lost Thomas?
I was just trying to make sure I didn't get caught in anything crazy, you know, just keep clean. And then managed to get Reese, which was good. Though, was quite happy with that move into turn 1. And yeah, the third race, yeah, was. I mean, I'm pretty happy with that, honestly, because I had no front end. I don't know if it's showing on the broadcast end, but at my end, I had no front end because I got through the curve, the bank corner, car inside stood up into me and gave me a whack, and I had wheel damage. The car was not good. It was a boat. So I was quite chuffed the whole pit, not to lie. I thought once I got pit, the guy said wheel damage, I thought, oh no, I'm going to have to pit. I'm going to lose heaps of positions, but thankfully the pace was enough. I could just hold on and keep it going. So I'm pretty proud of salvaging that, to be honest. But yeah, shame, because I probably could have maybe got to a podium without that. But that's racing. So, you know, all in all, not too bad.
Mate, congrats on the results tonight. We're going to leave you to it to go and unwind after that one, because it was a handful from what we could see up here. So probably well and truly time to have a stretch and enjoy whatever your drink of choice is tonight, mate.
It's the American Honeys at the moment.
Oh, there you go.
Here, so, yeah,
not a bad choice at all. Tom, congrats on the results tonight, mate. It's solidified your spot in the championship, and with Hayden Belt having a bit of a rough one, a good opportunity for you to perhaps just sneak ahead with 3 rounds left to go.
Yeah, well, hopefully, last 3 rounds left. Obviously, with Silverstone, Bathurst, Suzuka. I don't think they really suit the Corvette very well. I think Silverstone's going to be a struggle, because that's just this thing isn't that quick in a straight line, I'm pretty sure. So I feel like it's going to be a bit of a battle potentially. But yeah, look, if I can just hold a top 3, that would be sick, because considering I had a pretty bad start of the season with the hardware failure in round 1 and then the crash in race in the second round, it'd be, yeah, I didn't think I was going to get back to the top 3 after all that. So yeah, if I can hold top 3, I'll be pretty happy with that.
Fingers crossed, mate. We'll leave you to it. Thanks for coming to chat to us.
No worries. Thanks, guys.
Thomas in there just checking in before he calls it a night. Biggles, it's shaping up to be a very, very close championship battle indeed, isn't it? We've obviously got some drop rounds to recalculate ahead of next week, but I don't feel like we're anywhere close to being able to call the podium at this point.
No, look at that as well too, mate. I mean, you could really say that even go far as Kyle Ridley and Ryan are not completely out of this one as well. It is very, very close. A couple of good rounds from those drivers, a couple of bad rounds from the other drivers at the top. It's a situation that could be role reversed. That's going to be very crucial these next couple of rounds at least, of course, and we want to hope it's going to be a very close one on the finale round at the end of the day. But a big hats off there to Luke as well too for his first win. I'm not sure if we're going to get chat to him or not, but I mean, he's been improving. He's not going to be able to come, unfortunately, there out and battle the likes of Reese, Thomas and Danny for a championship, but maybe something to look out for that young gun in the new season as well too, because his last results as well too. It's his first actual race win. To hats off to him on that one, but you know, in the last couple of races as well too. He's finished in 9th and 6th, and now he's finished in 1st in all the races too. So
I'll be happy with that.
Keep an eye out for that. Yeah,
absolutely. Look, plenty more still to come. 3 more rounds of the French Car Care GT3 Championship with MC Motorsport lie ahead of us over the next 3 weeks. Zandvoort, as always, has delivered absolute chaos, and a massive congrats to every driver who actually managed to survive it, much less those who walked away with some of the top points. It's been another great round, and a massive thank you once again to French Car Care, of course, for sponsoring this one. As always, our championship standings doing this to us. We'll get that sorted for next week if we can. And a massive shout out to all of the regular sponsors as well: iRaptor Designs, Maximum Effort Racing, Sixpence Coffee, and of course Index Wraps. Excuse me for a second here, folks. Look, we've got a few rounds left to go here with MC Motorsport. We've also got more racing ahead of us this week. with, of course, the ASR V8 tomorrow night, and then Thursday night we're back into the Tasman Racing League Road Series as well. So plenty of racing still lies ahead of us. Biggles, as always, a massive thank you for jumping in the booth with me here tonight, mate. Hope you've enjoyed yourself.
Thank you very much, Jared.
And for everyone watching at home, thank you all for tuning in. It's been a pleasure, as always, to have you here with us on Simple Racing Broadcast. Until next time, it is goodbye for now.